Conference not what you may have anticipated. Georgia Southern was picked to win the league on the heels of its championship last year, yet it's the Eagles looking up at Samford, one of two unbeatens in the Southern Conference, and for the first time since 1995, Samford is both 4-0 and ranked in the top 25. Hello and welcome, Darren Goldwater alongside Doug Chapman. Samford's doing it in a variety of ways. Their defense has been very good, but it's their offense that's leading them to this 4-0 start and the balanced attack that this offense features.
Extremely balanced attack, and it starts with Andy Summerlin, to me, the quarterback. The Memphis transfer, completing 69% of his passes, does not make mistakes. A coach's dream, you'd love to have this as your point man, but my guy, my running back guy, Fabian Truss, gets the job done for me. 6.5 yards per carry, 112 yards rushing per game. A do-it-all running back reminds me of myself a little bit when I was at Marshall. Can run it, can catch it, blocks well. He's going to have to do it today because that Georgia Southern defense is tough.
Doug's always loving on his running backs, and I guess he should, right? Former running back at Marshall and in the NFL. Georgia Southern on the other side of things, sure, they're ninth in the country, but they're not Georgia Southern of last year, a team that went to the semifinals. They've gotten off to a bit of a shaky start. They're putting the ball on the ground.
They're putting it on the ground. They were a well-oiled machine last season. This year, starting off a little bit shaky with the fumbles. New quarterback, but the easiest way to remedy that is get the ball to Dominic Swoop over and over and over again. Expect to see a heavy dose of him. Phenomenal playmaker. Southern Conference Freshman of the Year last year, building off of that season of last year, coming into his sophomore year. Look for him today to have a huge game.
Georgia Southern's already got one loss in the FCS and in the Southern Conference. Big one for them as they try and win the league once again. Big one for Samford, too. Can they validate this 4-0 start with a win over a top 10 program? It's coming your way next. One of the top sights at the FCS level, it's Freedom flying down to the Paulson Stadium turf as the Eagles get set to host Samford, a top 25 matchup at the FCS level. So glad you could join us for what we hope is as good as advertised. Samford and Georgia Southern, a tough one for the Bulldogs because Georgia Southern has won 12 straight games here at home. We get a look at the series history since Samford joined the Southern Conference. That was back in 2008. Surprising a little bit, Doug. They've won 3 of the 4 meetings.
Yeah, they've had their number. You would not suspect that would be the record between these two teams, but Samford plays well when they play the Eagles.
It will be the Bulldogs who have the first touch, and it will be Fabian Truss, one of the top kick returners at the FCS level, averaging almost 35 yards per return. But the Eagles special teams are up to the task. He is down to the 21-yard line.
He took one back 97 yards this year, so he's dangerous. He's one of those running backs that you can kind of put anywhere on the field. As long as the ball's in his hand, he's going to make plays as this Samford offense comes off. Got to be watched for that guy.
Impressive that Samford has done what it has done to start the year 4-0 with Andy Summerlin at the helm. First year with the program, transferred in from Memphis. He has won the job from Ben Neal, and he is completing 70% of his passes. Up-tempo style for the Bulldogs, first offensive play of the game, and he's got Kelsey Pope, his leading receiver, 21st grab of the year, up to the 29-yard line. Fabian Truss, certainly, Doug, the guy we're going to key on here today, offense and special teams.
I love a running back like this, a do-it-all back, a dual threat, can catch it, can run, blocks well. You see he runs back the opening kick. Look for a heavy dose of him in the ground game. They'll move him around and throw the football to him as well.
On cue, it's the first carry of the game for Truss, guiding his blockers enough for a first down up to the 34-yard line. Georgia Southern's defense has been stout this year, Doug, one of the top in the country, and they have one of the best players in the country on that line.
All-American, Southern Conference Defensive Player of the Year last year, Brent Russell. He'll be lined up over the center. He'll be playing a little bit of a one technique on both sides of the ball. Very, very disruptive defensive player.
Walter's the tight end, the motion man. 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs. It'll be Fabian Truss again, and Brent Russell on the stop at the line of scrimmage. I'll tell you what's impressive about Truss in 2 carries. He really waits for those blocks to set up, doesn't he?
I tell you, when I watched him last year, you could see the type of talent the young man had. Watch him early this year, you can see where his game has really developed, not just an all-around back. And you talked about the patience, waiting for his blocks to set, finding the hole, and then knowing when to get north and south, not try to break every run for a big one because it's not going to always be there.
It's 2nd down and 9. They'll try Truss around the left side. He'll get away from Brent Russell and cross the 40 where Deion Stanley stops him at the 41. It'll be third and about 3 for the Bulldogs.
5'9", 190 pounds. Very well put together guy. He has deceptive speed. You don't know how fast he is until you chase him.
Brings up third down and 3 for the Bulldogs.
So far this year, the Bulldogs completing 36% of their third downs. That's 7th best in the Southern Conference. They need 3 yards here. Hard count from Summerlin. He almost had Georgia Southern jumping, Doug, but then looked as though a false start on the Bulldogs. That's Ted Pitts, our lead referee. Penalties have been a problem for Samford. They are penalized about 90 yards a game this year.
And if you can find anything wrong with their game, that would be it. They're undefeated, but that's been their only Achilles heel. Makes a 3rd and 3, now a 3rd and 8. Changes the playbook a bit if you're Samford on offense.
Andy Summerlin checking over to the sidelines to get this play as Paulson Stadium comes alive. A rabid fan base follows this Eagles program. 3rd down and 8. Brent Russell forces Summerlin out to the sidelines, and he throws it over the head of Kelsey Pope. Pope seemed to be coming back to a scrambling Summerlin.
And that's good coverage by Georgia Southern on the back end. They've had some issues with that secondary this year, new faces in new places, but you said Pope's coming back down trying to help his scrambling quarterback. Summerlin wanted him to go vertical. Bit of miscommunication, but Georgia Southern pays off for them. They forced Samford to punt. That penalty really hurt them. Took the 3rd and 3, the 3rd and 8. It's a whole different set of downs there.
Samford undefeated, haven't beaten a top 10 team since '94. And it'll be Peranich, who nearly has it blocked. Darion Robinson did not call a fair catch, paid the price, but it was kick-catch interference. So the Eagles are going to get some yards tacked on here.
That was a close one. That was very, very close. I thought he had that one perfectly timed. Robinson's living life dangerously, not calling a fair catch, but we thought they had that one perfectly timed for Samford.
Here's another look at it.
Yeah, you look at it here, and that's almost perfect timing. I know you have to give them time to catch it. He gave them the return man plenty of time to catch the football. It looked good from here. Apparently not to the refs.
It was Jaquaski Tart. We're going to hear a lot of Jaquaski Tart today. A couple of penalties have been very costly for Samford in the first 2.5 minutes of this game. Here's Izzy Uyute, first-year starting quarterback. He replaces Jabo Shaw. And, of course, Shaw ran this offense well. He came over from Georgia Tech. Same exact offense. Really helped the Monken era get off to a good start. Got to establish the dive if you're a triple option team, and it's Dominique Swope who's got the carry up to the 44-yard line. Swope, who was last year's freshman of the year. Swope on cue, also the key offensive player for Georgia Southern, alongside with Jarek McKinnon. Man, he can do it all, can't he?
Jarek McKinnon, he shouldn't even have a position next to his name. He should just say football player. They can put him at wide receiver, quarterback, running back, play defense, almost block the punt. You just saw Samford punt, and can run back kicks. A very dynamic football player.
Uyute keeps it up close to the 49-yard line with Jarrell Hill wrapping the legs. We've already seen one play from Jaquaski Tart. It was a 15-yard penalty, but what he's done on the defensive side of the ball, it's really guided the Samford defense.
Yeah, 14 tackles last week versus Western Carolina. Also, 3 passes broken up. Plays in that secondary, very big, 6'1", 6'2", 225 pounds. He will light you up if he catches you running through the middle.
This looks like it was Nick Williams, the defensive tackle. Tell you what, Samford, sure, Doug, they're off to a 4-0 start. This is a big game. They're trying to validate their start. Penalties are killing them here in the first 3.5 minutes.
Penalties will kill you, especially penalties on the road against a team like Georgia Southern. You cannot give them anything.
Jonathan Bryant was the motion man on first down, but it was Swope who picks up the first down. inside of the Samford 40.
And we talked to Coach Monken this week, and he said, you know what? If we can get 3 yards in a cloud of dust, we're a happy offense. Now, when you get 10 yards in a cloud of dust, you're an extremely happy offense. Swope, we talked about him, very dynamic. He plays that B-back position, lined up directly behind the quarterback. He's the main guy that's going to get a lot of the carries, a lot of the touches. If he has a game like this, right, if he continues this, it's going to be a long day for the Samford defense.
That is a nice start for him. He's the decoy here. You read it well and spins his way inside of the 35. The strong safety Alvin Hines up for the stop, but a good chunk of yards on first down.
A good chunk of yards. If you watch the offensive linemen for Georgia Southern, the way they fire off the ball, they cut their men, get to the second level, the linebackers, they throw at their legs. Even if they don't get the defender down, just to make the defender pause for a minute, the type of backs they have playing the A and the B back position for Georgia Southern, that's all they need. That might be a touchdown.
Robert Brown in motion and taking the pitch over the right side. Brown applies the hit to Tart and will be close to a first down, and a flag comes in as well. He got the first down with his contact along the sideline, and then dug another penalty coming against Samford.
Maybe 15 more added on to this one for a little bit of a late hit.
The second time Jaquaski Tart has been whistled for a 15-yard.
Yeah, the first one I don't fault him for. That was a very good football play. It's just the timing was bad. This one, I like aggressive defensive football plays. We love to see the aggression, but you got to know when to dial it down. This is a sophomore. He's young. He's still learning. But you can't hurt your team like this. Like I said, you can't do this on the road.
Wasn't necessarily 15. It was half the distance. Nonetheless, there goes Swope through a seam. Touchdown, Georgia Southern. 5th straight game with a touchdown for the sophomore Swope.
And that is one young man you cannot let him get lathered up early. Do not let him get in a rhythm early in this football game, because before you know it, you'll look up and he'll have 200 yards rushing. We saw what he could do last year. Coming in this year, having a strong sophomore campaign and having a strong first drive with these Georgia Southern Eagles.
27 yards on the drive for Swope. A drive that was certainly helped out by a couple of penalties, 3 of them to be exact. And the Eagles, who average over 400 yards on the game, ran it right down Samford for a 63-yard touchdown drive. And it is the Eagles, the 9th-ranked team in the country, that strike first in the top 25 matchup. Dominique Swope's 6th rushing touchdown of the year sets the Eagles up 7-0 here at Paulson. Well, they've won 12 straight at home for a reason. It's not just a tough place to play, but it's been a pretty good football team. Triple option. Doug does it again.
Yeah, they run it to a T. You see the wide splits of the offensive lineman. It naturally stretches out the defense, gives running seams. You cannot give a big running seam to that young man there, because he'll do what he just did, take it to the house.
Sophomore at a Buford High School, who really wrestled the starting B-back position away from Robert Brown towards the end of last year. Has been starting since that point and then all the way through this year. Best thing for Georgia Southern on that drive, Doug, not once did the ball hit the turf.
Didn't touch the turf, and Samford didn't help themselves out by a couple penalties on that drive. They've got to come out now, sustain something offensively, and don't shoot themselves in the foot.
They're going to kick this one away from Fabian Truss, so it'll be Kelsey Pope. Pope, who eludes one tackler to get across the 20, and Samford will start just across the 22.
Good solid field position to come out, and we talked about the balance of that offense. Pope, a guy that kind of flies under the radar, one of those really good receivers. They have the best receiving core in the Southern Conference between him, Cephas, and Hawkins. They don't get a lot of headlines between Summerlin and Truss, but one of these games, those three are going to have to come out and win the game. They're going to shut down Truss one of these days.
One of the reasons they don't get a whole lot of headlines is because Summerlin spreads the ball around so much. He's got 6 different guys that come into this game with at least 7 grabs. Here's 1st and 10 and another carry for Fabian Truss, his 4th of the game. Across the 25, Brent Russell, Josh Gebhardt, a couple of defensive linemen in on the stop.
They like to run out of that shotgun, that spread look. They're not huddling. Trying to get this Georgia Southern defense a little bit tired. not allow them to substitute. Georgia Southern was able to substitute on that play, but Samford's right back at the line of scrimmage calling another play.
It'll be 2nd down and 6. They'll go again to Truss, and again it's Russell who's the first man in there to hit him. Doug, we thought Russell would see a lot of attention and maybe free up the linebackers to make some plays, but so far in the first series and a half for Samford, Russell's been all over the place.
He's been all over the place. He's very hard to block. He lines up over your center, makes your center, ties him up, and you don't want to double team a guy like him because then you take away 2 linemen. Georgia Southern's very active up front. Last play, Deion Stanley, number 29 for Georgia Southern, tried to call timeout before the ball was snapped. Referee didn't see him.
3rd and 5. Summerlin hit as he throws it to Pope. Got to know where he is to get that first down. He does. After initially going backwards, he'll pick up the first down by about 3 yards.
Pope, we talked about him. Anybody else's team, he'd be the go-to receiver, the guy that would catch 8 to 9 balls a game. They spread it out here. Great job catching that one and getting the first down. Almost loses it. You see him come off the line, turns around, squares up, finds a soft spot in the zone, jumps back 2 yards, but picks them back up to pick the first down up.
Summerlin looking to settle down Samford here a little bit. On 1st and 10, he's got his tight end Zeke Walters. And they've got 7.5 yards on first down. Walters, who will also line up in the slot a little bit, a junior out of Birmingham.
Zeke Walters, one of those new tight end thing they're doing now in college football and in the NFL, where they take the tight end and he can be a wide receiver, or they can put him in tight and block. Walters is one of those guys. Nice out route, catches the ball, gets upfield, picks up 7 yards.
Walters was the man in motion. He becomes the lead blocker for this 2nd down carry for Truss. And oh, what a hit. It's a first down. It was Jeremiah Gates, not Truss, on the carry, the sophomore who spells Truss a little bit. It's one of the reasons Truss is so healthy. They've got a couple of backs behind him.
And they're kind of twins if you look at their body style and the way they run the ball. Truss gets the majority of the carries, but Gates is a very capable back.
Truss back in the game here. It's Brent Russell, who just bulldozes his way behind the line of scrimmage and drops Truss at the 46.
And honestly, if you look at the landscape of FCS, the nation, Georgia Southern may have the fastest defense. They always have a lot of team speed. It's going to be very hard to get outside on this defense. Their best bet if you're Samford is to run downhill with Truss, running sideline to sideline. These defensive ends, linebackers, and secondary cover guys for Georgia Southern are just going to run you to the sideline. You're not going to get many yards there.
Jeff Monken, last year's Coach of the Year in the conference, said, our defense is simple. We don't want anybody to score at all. 2nd down and 12. Nice grab by Kelvin Clay, who's strung out of bounds shy of midfield. A little bit of talking as well. Wilcox was in on the stop, a converted offensive player. Slot wide receiver, now a starting safety.
Yeah, Wilcox had a good year out of the backfield last year. Let's not talk about the athleticism of this Georgia Southern team. They can take guys and put them anywhere, and the guy can make plays. Wilcox, one of those guys. It's 3rd and 9. Let's see what the Samford Bulldogs have dialed up right here.
4-man front, gets pressure on Summerlin, who just throws it down into the turf. The strength of that defensive line allows Georgia Southern to be very basic behind that line.
Justice Ajike got in the backfield, destroyed that screen play on 3rd and 9.
Pat Sullivan, the head coach for Samford, he's up in the box. He has been ever since the beginning of the year. He was diagnosed with pneumonia, but said to us this week that he's getting a lot better. He could be on the sidelines if need be. It's a bit of a superstitious thing, though. Hey, they're 4-0. May as well stay up in the booth.
Said, I've been here. We haven't lost a game. Let's not change anything.
Pretty good player in his own right. Won the Heisman Trophy back in '71. Darion Robinson. I tell you what, these Georgia Southern kick return men, particularly Robinson, not fond of the fair catch. Didn't take too big of a hit. He's dropped, though, inside of the 20-yard line. It's a 7-0 Eagle lead. They'll get it back. Eagles are looking up at Samford in the Southern Conference standings, but it's a 7-0 Eagle lead here midway through the first as Georgia Southern gets set for its 2nd offensive possession under 3rd-year head coach Jeff Monken. Demands perfection, expects nothing less than perfection. And the fumbles have been a major cause for concern, yet so far the ball has not hit the ground.
And you know what? To run this triple option style of offense, it takes a certain type of head coach. It's not an offense that is going to get big chunks of yardage every time. You have to be really dedicated to this type of offense. And he's one of those Paul Johnson who's at Georgia Tech now, one of those disciples. He's got his guys. If you believe in it, you get the right playmakers in it, you can make big plays. You got to really believe in this offense.
Ute hit behind the line of scrimmage, although he's able to work his way forward for a couple of yards up to the 23. That's the slippery quarterback, the sophomore out of Florida, Izzy Ute, who ran for over 100 yards last week.
Yeah, Ute's their leading rusher. The issue with him sometimes is ball security. You see him there, he wraps it up with both hands. Putting it on the ground a little bit, fumbles have been an issue. New quarterback, he's just in his 4th game of the season. Still getting his feet wet, but having a good year so far.
It's looking at 3rd down and 6 here. First 3rd down for Georgia Southern. And Ute wants to put it up in the air. He will fire to his leading receiver, Contrella Showers, but he dropped it.
I'll tell you, if Ute was just a little bit more patient, he had Jonathan Bryant streaking down the right sideline with no safety back for Samford. You see Bryant puts his hands up looking for the football, but Ute delivers a shorter pass to a receiver. We talked about the youth. That'll come with more play time. Hit Showers and they're not able to convert, but if they get these kinks worked out, we should see that offense that we saw clicking last year.
It's Luke Cherry, who's the new punter this year for Georgia Southern, and it'll be Huckins who waves for the fair catch. And Samford will begin at the 34. Bulldogs looking for their first points. It'll be their 3rd possession of the game. Night is falling on us here with a sold-out crowd at Paulson Stadium. Top 25, Samford and Georgia Southern. Darren Goldwater and Doug Chapman here getting set for the 3rd possession for Samford. They'd be fortunate that they're only down 7-0 because on that last play, Jonathan Bryant was open. He was just missed by Ute. Here's Truss on 1st down. Again, patiently working his way into and then beyond the 2nd level. It'll be 9 yards for Truss. I want to go back to that last play for Georgia Southern, though, Doug. This year, their pass efficiency is last in the Southern Conference. It's not just that they're fumbling, but an option team, if it's going to be successful, has to have a very high pass efficiency.
Yeah, they don't throw it a lot, but when they do, they have to pick up big chunks. They're last. That's what kind of happens when you have a new quarterback. You have a new trigger man. It's going to take him some time to get comfortable, not just in the running attack, but in the passing attack. You missed a receiver on their last play that could have picked up a 1st down. But that's going to happen. You want to get those kinks worked out. Hopefully they don't come back to bite you in the end.
Walters was open. Summerlin threw it to the wrong shoulder. It'll be 3rd down and 1 for the Bulldogs, who are 1 for 3 in this first quarter on 3rd downs. Big shoes for Summerlin to fill, and he's done it well through 4 games. He's replacing Dustin Tolliver, who was a 4-year starter for Samford. Felt like he was here for 6 years.
Felt like he had about 8 years eligibility, didn't he?
Samford's got to call a timeout. Zeke Walters was late to run in from the sidelines.
Samford, that's their first timeout of the half. That timeout will be a 30-second timeout.
They've switched running backs out. They have put in Gates in the game and pulled Truss out. Truss doesn't seem to be banged up, but he picks up 9 yards on 1st down. I'd keep him in there, keep feeding him the rock, let him get warmed up.
Folks, next time you are online, be sure to check out the SoCon website, SoConSports.com. It's the official website of the Southern Conference. News, notes, scores, information about all of the league's 12 member institutions. Simple enough. SoConSports.com, official website of the Southern Conference. Check it out after tonight. They always have updated game stories for all of Saturday's action. It'll definitely be up before you go to bed tonight. A lot of stories around the league today. We've had big-time rushing performances out of both Wofford and Furman today. May have another one here. 3rd down and 1. And now a little bit of a decoy here. Summerlin looking back to the sidelines. They snap it to Gates, who gets just enough for the 1st down. That decoy worked perfectly. They had Georgia Southern kind of looking another way.
It had the 2nd level of Georgia Southern's defense looking the other way, but the defensive linemen for Georgia Southern weren't fooled. Direct snap to Gates. Summerlin looks as if he's looking over to the sideline. You saw a few of the linebackers for Georgia Southern turn away and look towards the Samford sideline as well. Only got a yard on the play, but that's all they needed.
They're going to bring the blitz from the right side, and it's Pope over the middle. It's a 1st down inside of the 40 as he dives underneath J.J. Wilcox down to the 36.
Kelsey Pope, we talked about him. He could be a receiver that could catch 1,200, 1,300 yards worth of balls if he didn't have such a good running back in Truss. Summerlin, if he gets this type of protection, he's going to pick them apart all afternoon. Not sure what coverage that was in the back end. He had to cover two of the safeties, but the corners were playing off these good receivers. Got to put a body on him, young man.
19-yard hookup sets up 1st and 10. It's Russell who blows it up again. He certainly had some help. It wasn't just Russell who got back there. A lot of the defensive line helped him out and joined him in the backfield.
And Russell comes in with 3 TFLs and 2 sacks. A guy with those type of numbers, you expect to see line up at defensive end, but he comes from in the middle, getting double-teamed 80% of the football game, still makes plays. You see there, here's a motor just won't stop. Gets a little bit of help. I'll tell you, with a guy like Russell, everyone else is going to get one-on-one blocking. Jonathan Battle able to get through and take advantage of it.
A delay to Truss. Russell had a hand on the ankles, but Truss breaks free, and he'll sprint inside of the 35 and carry guys towards the 31. Had a little bit of that extra push in those legs.
And Fabian Truss, the past 2 seasons, has gotten a bit nicked up and not been able to play a complete season. Health has been a concern with him. Been healthy so far this season. He's averaging 112 yards a game, coming in with 7 touchdowns rushing on the year. I tell you, he's one of those guys you watch, he gets stronger as the game goes on. And in this balanced attack that they have, you don't have to depend on him too much, and the defense can't key on him. And he makes big, big plays for this offense.
It is 3rd down and 6 for Summerlin and company. Here comes the blitz. Spins away from Wilcox. And he's got Kelvin Clay. 1st down for Clay. Great awareness by Summerlin. That blitz came from his blind side, yet he was able to keep the play alive and find Kelvin Clay, the sophomore out of Chattanooga.
Summerlin's a senior. He's not a young freshman or sophomore. He's seen a lot of football. Talked about him transferring from Memphis. He feels this blitz coming. Able to pivot out, turns what should have been a drop back into a rollout play. Able to find a receiver and Kelvin Clay open to pick up the 1st down.
Deepest Samford has penetrated Georgia Southern in 3 possessions. Jeremiah Gates smells Fabian Truss.
On the carry,
You got a helmet off.
Antoine Williams on the stop.
When helmet pops off, you got to come off and take a play. They check that headgear. You got to come to the sideline. It's like that's Justice Ejike.
One of those 6 or 7 defensive linemen that routinely rotate in and out.
They keep him fresh.
Trying to answer the Dominique Swope touchdown run from earlier in the quarter. It's 2nd down and 8. Over the middle, he's got Jeremiah Gates, who can't get away from Williams, but he's got a 1st down just outside of the 10.
They get Gates matched up on Antoine Williams, a little angle route. That's the thing you can do if you've got man-to-man coverage. If you can recognize man-to-man coverage, you take a linebacker, and you want to get him matched with one of your running backs or your slots. That time they get him matched up on Gates out of the backfield. He's 1 shoestring tackle away from being in the end zone.
Stretch out Truss here. And he stopped at the line of scrimmage. Trevor Shaw was in on that stop of Fabian Truss. 9th carry of the game already for Truss. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
A nice looking drive for Samford right now. They're able to put together a nice lengthy drive. Eat some of the clock up, going under 2:20 in the 1st quarter now. Georgia Southern, that defense has to be tired.
This will be the 11th play of the drive, Doug. 2nd down and 10. Over the middle. Again, it is Pope. What a catch by Pope. First time he's really been swarmed around traffic. He is just inside of the 5. Not enough for a 1st down. It'll be 3rd and short, but not 3rd and goal.
Now let me tell you something, Darren. I'm a running back, and I love to see great running back play. But you cannot deny what these receivers for Samford do. Watch the preciseness of their routes, how good their hands are. And then what I liked about Pope, what a lot of receivers like, I'm sure, is he avoids the big shot. He's able to get down all the time when there's a lot of traffic in the middle of the field. He does not take a lot of big hits where the ball either comes out or he gets knocked out. Very good at wide receivers for the Samford team.
On 3rd and a yard and a half, Truss is stopped behind the line of scrimmage. Josh King, the reserve defensive back, the sophomore, came in to hit him. So the field goal unit trots out there for Samford. That's a win for this Eagle defense.
It's a big time win. You have a drive like that where they're able to move the ball down the field, running and throwing. They're knocking on your door. You have the ball at the 3-yard line, and you make them go for 3. That's if they do kick this. I doubt if they'll make it, but it's a win if you're Georgia Southern's defense.
They've got the best kicker in the league here, Cameron Yaw, the all-time scoring leader at Samford. It'll be a 20-yarder straight on, and he's got the Bulldogs on the board.
Did you see Russell come through there? He's blocked one kick this year already. Almost got to that second one there.
Nice drive for the Bulldogs, however, Doug. That drive marched them from their 34 down to the 3. And at least it establishes a bit of confidence for this offense that had not crossed midfield prior to that drive.
Had not crossed midfield. You're on the road. Had a couple penalties that backed yourselves up, put yourself in a hole. You wish you could have got a touchdown out of that, but if you're on the sideline for Samford now, you're like, okay, we have a little bit of confidence. We can move the ball any way we want. We're balanced. That's how we do it. Now we have to get touchdowns out of it.
This is a validation type game for Samford. Yeah, they're 4-0, haven't been ranked since '95, and they've got that 4-game winning streak. Look at all those dates, none of them since 2000. And it's a lot to do with Andy Summerlin, their senior quarterback who transferred in here, but this is the game that they can kind of validate that start, Doug. They haven't played a team the caliber yet of Georgia Southern.
You talk about those dates, 95, 99, it's been a long time. We talked to Coach Sullivan on the phone, and he said he's finally got guys in here that know they can compete with the Georgia Southerns of the league, with the Appalachian States of the league. These guys, they can line up man for man, and they're just as good, if not better than. He said this is the first time in a long time. He said he really likes this team. He likes them on and off the field. And they've got the talent, and they're showing it right now. They can play with anybody.
Considering their early penalty issues here in this quarter, too. They were penalized 4 times in the first about 5 minutes of this game for over 30 yards. It's not just a score, but he's got that big leg, which will put Georgia Southern out at the 25 to begin their 3rd possession, after going 3 and out on their last possession. The Eagles, meanwhile, while this is a validation game for Georgia Southern, the Eagles already have a loss at the FCS level and in the Southern Conference. If Georgia Southern hopes to repeat as league champions, and if they hope to make the playoffs, a loss here would really put them behind the 8 ball. This is as big a game for Georgia Southern as it is Samford.
It'll put them behind the 8 ball because not only will they have 2 conference losses, they'll have 2 conference losses to teams that are going to finish pretty strong and have good records. They're not going to lose many football games.
High for Barker on first down. It'll be 2nd and 10.
So it would be hard for them to play catch-up. They lost to Citadel in the final seconds of that football game. And if they lose today to Samford, Samford and Citadel are 2 good football teams. I don't see them losing a lot of games down the stretch to allow a team they beat to come back in through the back door.
We'll keep track of the Citadel game tonight, too. They and Samford, the 2 surprises in the league. Bulldogs of the Citadel are playing Chattanooga. That game underway as well. Here's 2nd and 10 for Ute and the Eagles from their 25. First man through. Dominique Swope up to the 28-yard line. Dominique Swope, it's his 5th carry of the game, just now clearing 30 yards.
They may see if they try to get one more off before this quarter runs down. And I think they're going to go in the 2nd quarter. I see Ute looking towards the sideline.
Certainly isn't any urgency here. In fact, the play clock has been reset on the field already, assuming that Georgia Southern will just let the game clock run out. So that's what we do.
That. There we go.
That's what we've got. After a bit of a shaky start for Samford, Jeff Lumpkin's team jumped out to that 7-0 lead. Seemed to have settled in a little bit, particularly on the defensive end the Bulldogs have. It'll be Georgia Southern looking at 3rd down and 7 to begin the 2nd quarter in a 4-point game. Start of the 2nd quarter and a big play for Georgia Southern, trying to avoid back-to-back 3 and outs. Ute on 3rd down and 7 can't pull the trigger, and he's down to the 20.
I tell you, Jeremy Towns, number 91 for Samford, was held a bit while Ute was scrambling. Referees did not see that. Either way, Ute being brought down. Credit that. That's a coverage sack. Credit that tackle, that loss there on that backside defense of Samford. Towns gets back there, is a bit disruptive. You see him, a little congratulations on the sideline. Doesn't make the play, but he breaks it up. Makes your Ute scramble. The Eagles are forced to punt.
Good to see Towns healthy. And here's a bad snap for Georgia Southern.
Lucky there wasn't a block on there.
Not one of the best efforts for Cherry because of it. Samford will have great field position at 46. Samford's defense has settled in after the opening touchdown drive for Georgia Southern that was capped by the Swope touchdown. Samford's defense has now forced back-to-back 3-and-outs for Georgia Southern, and it's the Samford offense, statistically speaking, far superior so far to the Georgia Southern offense.
And very rarely do you see teams come in to a place like this where they know it's a big game and they play real calm. It's a little jittery from the beginning. And look at those, the jitters settled down. Look at the passing yard for Samford, 71. Georgia Southern, of course, they don't throw it a lot. Then rushing yards. Like we said, it's a much more balanced attack for Samford, and that balance has kept them on the football field longer than it has Georgia Southern.
Yeah, how about this? This is the 26th play for Samford, but it's a sack back at the 45 as Battle, beg your pardon, mentioned 52 gets in there, the junior out of Tampa.
Like Devon mentioned, I tell you, defensive end, he's got 3 sacks on the season. Tough to block. He just gets a nice speed rush upfield. Just beats the right tackle like a drum. Like that's Al Champion he beat around the edge and gets back there and gets his hands on Summerlin. Now it's 2nd and 13.
League leading 4th sack of the year for Javon Mention. 2nd down and 13. Summerlin loads up going deep. There was a whole lot of contact, and I believe a flag.
Well, like the ref threw his hat down to mean the receiver was forced out of bounds, but they let a lot of that. That was a lot of contact there, Darren. They didn't. I thought a flag would come out, not a hat.
Josh King was all over him. Gavin Sinclair, the intended target, freshman out of Fort Lauderdale.
Georgia Southern dodges a bullet there because there was a lot of contact down the sideline. It was not called. Now they got a 3rd and long. They know what Samford's got to do here.
3rd down and 13. 4 down linemen don't get enough pressure. The deep ball for Cephas. What a grab at the 15. Cephas pulls it in with Deion Stanley right there with him, and Samford moves into the red zone.
There's that 3rd receiver. We talked about Kelsey Pope. We talked about Chris Cephas. We talked about Riley Hawkins. There's Chris Cephas coming across the middle. Coming across, just streaking, just gets vertical. Just runs a go route, gets inside of the defender, actually gets interfered with. No flag thrown. Cephas able to go up and get that football, bring it down. 3rd and 13, able to convert. Excellent play.
You'll take 42 on 3rd and 13, and then Truss gets blown up by Darius Eubanks. A safety now, a former linebacker. He hits like a linebacker.
Now, that's what you call getting hit in the mouth, okay? Truss comes through looking for a seam. Eubanks says, I got a seam for you right here, buddy. Hits him right in the mouth, takes him back a yard. Able to get 3 out of this, but you talk about pads popping. Look at that.
Welcome to Paulson Stadium. 2nd down and 7. Summerlin's got Kelsey Pope inside of the 5. And again, Doug, what you love about Pope, in traffic, avoids the big hit.
In traffic, avoids the big hit. He recognizes man coverage. He is running some very, very nice routes. Runs the skinny post. He gets free, but then he slows his route down a bit. He sees the safety sitting there, doesn't want to run to the hit. Catches the ball, stretches out, gets the ball down the 3-yard line.
1st and goal. Truss hit as he takes the handoff. And Truss is going to become very familiar with some of these blue jerseys. I thought it was actually Eubanks who had gotten in there again. It was not. It was Deion DeBose, the defensive end.
I tell you, they know how dangerous Fabian Truss is if he can get started. The best way to stop a great back like that is to stop him before he gets started. A host of blue jerseys there to bring him down.
2nd and goal. They're going to roll Summerlin, and it's DeBose who pressures the play. The defensive line is as advertised. Pat Sullivan of Samford said it may be the best defensive line at the FCS level.
And once again, what are we seeing? We are seeing Samford make a nice little drive, a couple big plays, get them down to knock, in the end zone for the Eagles, get down to the 3-yard line. They get backed up a little bit. And now it's a 3rd down and 7. They may make them go for a field goal again. They're going no backs here. They have to throw it. Let's see what they can dial up.
Stalled at the 3 on their last drive. It's 3rd and goal from the 7, and it's Pope who's wide open for the Samford touchdown. It's his 2nd of the year, and the Bulldogs have the lead.
We talked a lot about Fabian Truss. We need to talk about Kelsey Pope as well. He's having a fantastic first half. And it's the small things he does, like a receiver that can read the difference in man and zone. They go no backs. Had to be a miscommunication in the secondary for Georgia Southern. Kelsey Pope wide open at the back of the end zone. They have to find where number 11 is lined up on the field at all times.
That caps a drive of a short field that started at the 48-yard line because of the short punt, and it results in the touchdown for Kelsey Pope, a preseason All-Southern Conference selection. He's been All-Southern Conference in some form in each of his first 2 seasons. And how about the Bulldogs, who fell behind 7-0? Now they lead at 9th-ranked Georgia Southern 10-7. Those 2 men, part of the balanced Samford attack, which has been more dominant through the air tonight than on the ground. Summerlin and Kelsey Pope have combined to put the Bulldogs on top. Doug, what's Pope doing?
He's just running really good routes. Summerlin's finding him and he's throwing him open. Pope's doing a great job of getting himself open, coming off the ball, not giving away his route. See that last touchdown catch? They ran 5 wides. If you're a defensive back after what Kelsey Pope has been doing early, how do you lose track of him? Wide open in the back of the end zone.
Second score of the year for Pope. He has 6 catches on the night already. He had 20 coming in. What a benefit it is to not allow the return team really any space. There was a little bit of pushing and shoving there without a flag thrown, and it'll be Georgia Southern, which will start at the 25. Special teams are by design. They're that strong at Samford. Both kickers are very good. Pat Sullivan said that's the way we drew it up. That's exactly what we wanted. And here comes Jarek McKinnon. Backup quarterback. We have seen him on the field as a slot back, but he is going to replace Yu here for the 4th possession for the Eagles. McKinnon darts through a seam, skips his way to the outside, and it's a first down for Jarek McKinnon. Instant offense.
And here's the thing with McKinnon. You really can't put a position tag on this guy. He's just a playmaker. He can play quarterback and play it very well, and you see the wiggle. I like to call this the wiggle. When a guy gets in the hole and is able to make just people miss. Look at the jump cut, sitting guys down. You love to see a guy that can move like that in the hole in little tiny little boxes. A guy that can make plays in 1 and 2 yard little areas. McKinnon's that guy.
McKinnon leaves it this time for Brown. What a seam for Brown. Back-to-back first downs on the ground. Jaquaski Tart trips him up at the 45. That's 15 yards.
And nothing against you, but when you put a guy like McKinnon under center, defensively, your game plan has to change because you have a phenomenal playmaker that can take it to the house. So you have to account for him. Then you have to account for Swope, who's ever lined up at that B-back position, who's now Brown. And don't forget the A-backs on the perimeter. So you really have to look at 4 people at once because they can all hurt you.
Darion Robinson this time will take the pitch, and it's Tart up from the free safety spot for the stop, but it's good chunky yards on first down. That's 4 yards for Darion Robinson. So many different guys for Georgia Southern can beat you. We've just seen the legs of McKinnon, then Brown, now Robinson.
Yeah, if you're a defense coordinator coming in here to play Georgia Southern, it's almost not fair. They've got guys that are on the sideline right now that can start in the Southern Conference that aren't even playing tonight. They just rotate those running backs out like defensive linemen, and whoever they put back there can pick up yards.
First and 10. McKinnon kept this one, and McKinnon has got running room. McKinnon will take it all the way. Touchdown, Georgia Southern from 41 yards out.
And do not get this young man going early. We talked about Truss, what he can do for that Samford offense, but I'm telling you, Jarek McKinnon is probably the most dynamic football player on this football field tonight. He can throw it, he can run it, he can play special teams. He'll even come up and had a couple interceptions in the playoffs last year. And you see what he can do when they put him at quarterback. No rust on that young man running that option attack. Makes the correct read, take it to the house.
3rd rushing touchdown of the year. It's amazing. One guy comes in, you switch up the quarterback, and all of a sudden it looked like Samford's defense was back on its heels, almost flat-footed. big chunks of yards ripped off. A scoring drive of 75 yards in just over a minute, featuring 2 long Jerick McKinnon runs. This one, the longest of the drive, a 41-yard sprint for McKinnon, his longest run of the season, and the Eagles are back on top. Izzy Ute led a touchdown drive in the opening drive, but back-to-back 3-and-outs led to Jerick McKinnon on the phone, inserted a quarterback and a spark plug, Doug, for Georgia Southern's offense.
And your Ute's not hurt. You see him standing there. It looks fine. He was congratulating McKinnon, which you like to see. They just made a little switch at quarterback. But I tell you, this offense, if you can get a guy, your point man, your quarterback, and he can run the offense and make superior, fantastic plays like that, you got to get him on the field. Coach Munkins used to having Jabo Shaw here. Jabo Shaw didn't do anything wrong with that position, made enough plays. If McKinnon's in there and doesn't make mistakes, you have a fantastic football player underneath center, and this offense can explode.
Explode it did. 75 yards in a minute 19. So less than 80 seconds after giving up the lead, the Eagles took it right back. They're going to kick it away from Fabian Truss. So it'll be Kelsey Pope, who's already got a touchdown reception, and he was chopped down by Sasser. And we've got a flag coming in as well. Now another one.
On the return.
Let's see what the flag is, but that's a good tackle by Boyd Sasser. Because if Pope gets the corner, he's still running.
Number 10's helmet came off. He then proceeded to participate in the play. They forced a personal foul on the kicking team. 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
And the crowd doesn't like that, but that's the rule in college football now. If the helmet comes off, you have to stop participating. If you're a ball carrier and your helmet pops off, the whistle will be blown and the play is dead, even if you are on your feet and still running. As a defensive player, the helmet pops off. You cannot proceed and make a tackle, which he did. Still all about that head safety. Concussions are a big deal in football. They're trying to protect the players. That's one of the new rules in effect. I haven't seen it yet in the game I've done. It's my first time seeing it this year. But I like it to keep the kids safe, but it's hard to tell a guy to just stop.
Your helmet's off. Don't play. Don't go after the tackle. First carry of the game here for Stanley Robinson. May have just barely pushed his way across the line of scrimmage.
Samford rotating their running backs in the game. You see Stanley Robinson coming in now, 5'10", 200-pound sophomore from Montgomery, Alabama. Now he's running off. They're bringing in Jeremiah Gates. Truss is not on the field to start this first series off. Not sure if he may be a bit nicked up.
Kelsey Pope, who came to Samford as a quarterback, but has been a great receiver today, as his first carry of the game, crossing the 40-yard line. Yeah, I think the thing, Doug, about the running backs for Samford, Fabian Truss, as good as he is, he's been banged up in his first 2 years at Samford. Missed a couple of games last year, missed a game as a freshman, so they're trying to keep him healthy.
They got to keep him healthy because he's a dynamic player and he makes this offense really go. Fortunately for them, they have other guys in Gates and company that can get the job done when Truss isn't in there.
Gates stays in on 3rd down and 6. It'll be Summerlin firing for a first down out to the 49. And it's the first grab of the game for the third-year starter, the redshirt senior Riley Hawkins.
This is another one, that three-headed monster they have at wide receiver. You see what they switch off at running back. They also have 3 guys that can go get it at wide receiver, Pope, Cephas, and you see Hawkins. He's the 3rd member of that trio. Very balanced attack here.
Moving it quickly now on this drive. Back to Jeremiah Gates. And Gates has 8. They can be a very up-tempo offense. That's new to Samford. It really came into play last year.
And in order to run an up-tempo offense, you have to have guys that are in shape enough to stay on the field. Offensive linemen have to be in great shape. Your skill guys have to know what they're doing without having to huddle up. And that comes with time. If you got a young team, you probably can't do that.
2nd down and 2. It's Gates who skips his way through a hole over right guard, and he's got the first down to the 39. Pretty nice to have a sophomore like Gates who's able to spell Truss. And Truss stays out.
Here comes the next platoon of skilled guys on the field. They run onto the field with Jeremy Brown, a wide receiver, 6'5", at the bottom of your screen. They try to use his height to move the ball.
Empty backfield, 1st and 10 for Summerlin, who doesn't like what he sees. Samford sideline was upset that Summerlin called that timeout.
And I think what upset them is that he sent Robinson in motion, number 37, to try to see what the defense was playing. Defense was playing man. They must not have moved enough for what he wanted to see. Summerlin didn't like it. The sideline did like it. So I wonder what the coach is telling Summerlin right now.
Well, here's what we're going to tell you. Don't forget to join us for our next SoCon Telecast. It's October 13th, 1:30. Chattanooga travels to Greenville to take on Furman Paladins. Log on to watchespn.com for live Southern Conference football. It's the Mocs and Paladins exclusively on watchespn.com or on your Watch ESPN app. I tell you what, Furman had a great day today. Gerodis Williams went crazy, had almost 300 all-purpose yards in the first half alone. One of the best backs in the league. Big win for the Paladins, beating Western Carolina today. 1st and 10 from the 39. Fabian Truss, who's back into the game, spins off the hit of the strong safety J.J. Wilcox.
They just gave Truss a little breather on the sideline, just get him fresh. You can keep fresh legs in the backfield. They've been able to move the ball no matter who they've put back there. Truss inserts himself back in, picks up 2. I tell you, they want to get him going and get him started. They can also throw him the ball. I haven't seen him catch out of the backfield tonight. They attempted a screen that Georgia Southern blew up. 2nd and long. Let's see what they do here.
2nd down and 8. Summerlin looks for Truss, and it's broken up. Very nice play by Eubanks, the safety, who almost came away with an interception there.
And Eubanks has gotten to know Mr. Truss very well. Blows him up in the hole earlier. Breaks on that ball, breaks it up, almost takes it back the other way. They're fortunate that someone has time, moves around a bit in the pocket. They're playing man coverage. Linebacker almost always has the running back out of the backfield. Eubanks is playing that safety position, comes down. That's his man, breaks on that ball. Brings up a 3rd and 8 for Samford.
4 receivers for Summerlin on this 3rd down play. And Georgia Southern brings the blitz. He's got Hawkins, but it hits off his chest. And Hawkins dropped it. Not sure if he would have had the first down anyway. He caught it just shy of the sticks. And Samford, which has been so good on 3rd down tonight, misses for just the 4th time, but they're 60%, 6 out of 10 now.
And Lavelle Westbrook's another one of those newer faces back in that secondary. Good coverage there. That route was run short. You're right, Darren. They would not have had the first down, but great coverage by Westbrooks to make sure if he does catch that football, he would not pick up the first down.
Baranich, who was all freshman team last year. Excellent at pinning guys deep, but he gets a little bit too much of this one and sends it into the end zone. So the Eagles will start at the 20. The top 25 matchup has started to live up to the billing. Eagles jumped on top 7-0. The lead has then traded hands twice. Midway second. Always a great sight here at Paulson Stadium. Freedom, the Eagle flies down just like at the FBS level. Auburn does that as well. Here are scores from around the league. And look at what the running backs have done today.
My type of Saturday, brother.
Yeah, I bet.
Yes, sir.
App gets 202 yards from Miller. Gerodis Williams goes for almost 240 in Furman's win. Breitenstein, not to be outdone.
Goes off.
In the history of the league, not to be outdone. 321 yards for Wofford. And meanwhile, the Citadel Bulldogs, 15th in the country. Them and Samford, the 2 surprise teams, they're trailing late in the first half.
Those Breitenstein numbers stick out to me all time in the conference. There's been some pretty good backs in this conference over the years.
One of them, in fact, will be honored at halftime. Adrian Peterson, one of the best backs in Georgia Southern history. We hope to have him join our broadcast later on. Peterson rushed for over 9,000 yards in his career prior to moving on to the NFL.
57 games, over 9,000 yards. That's a lot of running.
Doug Chapman numbers?
A lot of running. We threw it so much at Marshall.
Oh, yeah.
I was jealous of these guys in this option attack. I would get 10 carries like 100 yards.
2nd and 7 for Brown, who works across the 30. That's a first down for Robert Brown. Brown kind of fell out of favor a little bit here at Georgia Southern. He was the starting B-back last year. Came into tonight with only 4 carries, yet that's his second first down run of this second quarter.
You know, I wouldn't say fell out of favor, but when you've got a guy like Swope who's pushing you for playing time, who's so good, you have to pick one. Swope just had a great year last year. We talked about it, Southern Conference Freshman of the Year. He's playing that well. It's hard to hold a position when you've got a guy like that breathing down your neck.
Jarrett McKinnon still in there at quarterback after leading the touchdown drive. Gets away from Tart, but Samford's defense is there to help out the safety. It's a loss back to the 30.
McKinnon looked like lightning in a bottle in that first series, and they bottle him up right here. That's what you got to do to a guy like him. If he gets out in space, you have to corral him. You can't run at him because he'll make you miss. You got to get bodies around him, try to pin him into a corner. He did there. Excellent job by Samford's defense swarming him, because we saw what he can do if he gets loose.
It's the second possession for McKinnon under center. In his last possession, the Eagles went 75 yards in a minute 19 to take what is now this 14-10 lead. On 2nd and 11. Samford seems to have this option read well. Darion Robinson is pushed out at the 31 by Jaquaski Tart.
And ladies and gentlemen, there's a flag on this play, but if you're watching the option at home, if you see that quarterback fading from the line, when he's running down the line to pitch it, that's a good sign if you're watching the defense. That means they're pushing them backwards. We'll get into it after they talk about this flag here.
Samford's going to have a decision here. It would be 3rd down and 10 if they take this penalty, which it looks like it is going to be taken. Here's the call. Not sure what they're trying to iron out.
Number 6, 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. Replay, 2nd down.
Now, as we watch that play, they're going to call holding on Dominic Swope. But what happened is the quarterback, when they run that option, they want to attack the end man on the line of scrimmage, and they want to get downhill attacking. When they're running parallel to the line of scrimmage and fading back, that means the defense is doing an excellent job. McKinnon never was able to attack. He was running sideways, so that pitch was actually pitched backwards. By the time the running back catches it, he's already at a loss. Defense did a great job stringing him out, and then they get a little bit of help from Mr. Swope holding.
You like the fact that Samford took this penalty here?
I would have taken the down instead of the penalty, but I guess they figure they don't throw the ball well, so let's back them up more, because I doubt if they're going to pick it up by throwing. But we've seen what Georgia Southern's offense can do, so I wouldn't gamble with them like that.
It'll be 2nd down and 21. They need the 41.
If I'm Coach Sullivan, I'm taking that down. I want these guys off the field ASAP.
It would have been 3rd and 10. Play clock down at 5. And now taking the penalty sure seems to have been a great idea for Samford. Instead of 3rd and 10, it's about to be 3rd down at about 20.
Last year, McKinnon threw 6 passes, completed 3 of them. So I guess they know he's not a threat to really throw it. They're going to keep him out of the field, and they tried that B back into the middle to see what they could get from that defense. Samford's defense holds up pretty strong.
3rd down and 17 officially with 5 minutes to go here in this first half as the light drizzle starts to fall. Look at the shiftiness of McKinnon, keeping the play alive, but throws a dangerous one that's intercepted. Back to the 41 takes Trey Wesley, his first career interception. McKinnon did a great job to keep it alive, but maybe never should have thrown.
A good gamble by the Samford defense coaching staff, taking the yards instead of the penalty and making them go to the air, hoping this would happen, and it pays off. McKinnon breaks down, the pocket breaks down, he rolls to his left. He just pretty much throws that football up for whoever wanted it. Trey Wesley able to come down with it. They flipped the field and got better field position than had they made Georgia Southern punt it.
Samford leads the league in turnover margin. They also lead the league in picks. That was their 10th of the year. Great field position, and it's Kelsey Pope, the receiver screen on 1st down. And for Pope, that's his 7th reception of the game. He's cleared 60 yards tonight.
That's nothing more, ladies and gentlemen, than a long handoff to a wide receiver. It's really like a running play. You got a guy like Pope, and you pick up 4 yards on 2nd down. On 1st down. You couldn't ask for anything more.
So it's 2nd and 6, looking right all the way, and Pope finally makes a mistake. They have felt Deion Stanley bearing right down on him. It'll bring up 3rd down and 6.
Pope has great hands, does not look that one in. He's looking to run before he actually makes the catch. Not able to bring that ball in, and now it's 3rd and 6.
Samford is 6 of 10 on 3rd downs tonight. Three receivers for Summerlin in the face of a blitz. This one's picked off by J.J. Wilcox. No one's going to catch J.J. Wilcox. Touchdown, Georgia Southern. It's Lavelle Westbrooks, 18, not number 19. The corner, Westbrooks, has the pick six. It's 20 to 10.
We talked about some good running back play from Georgia Southern and some good skill position on the offensive side of the ball. I'll tell you right now, it doesn't get any better than what Lavelle Westbrooks just did, squatting and sitting on a route. They bring the blitz and need man-to-man coverage on the back end, and you cannot dial it up any better. You can't draw it up any better than what Mr. Westbrooks does. Takes it back for a pick six. Huge momentum shift.
Officially 72 yards. Yeah, just when Georgia Southern had thrown a pick, Samford was in great field position. And it's the Eagles who have their largest lead of the night. They were on top 7-0. Samford wrestled the lead back at 10-7.
You see here, they're bringing the blitz. They bring the safeties. They cross them. Someone lets that ball go. I tell you, Westbrook sits on it, sits back in his corner. He plays a bit of off coverage, jumps the route, steps right in front of Riley Hawkins. And once he takes it back, I see why you called him Wilcox, because he looked like Wilcox, who used to play running back down that sideline, who's now on defense. Hard to tell him apart. But Lavelle Westbrook, I tell you, a huge pick. Look at his numbers now. Cornerbacks don't make a lot of tackles, but you ask them to make interceptions and play tight coverage. A team like Samford likes to throw it a lot. Kelsey Popes had some success here early in the game. A defensive back for Georgia Southern had to step up, had to make a play. Coach Munkin said they were young on defense on that side of the ball, waiting for somebody to kind of emerge. I think we may have seen someone just emerge.
Yeah, I think so. The junior who's starting for the 3rd year, Westbrook, certainly buoys that defense a little bit. They can kind of ride his back. It's 21-10 here at Paulson Stadium. Let's get a look at the updated standings with some games in the Southern Conference already completed. And keep in mind the Citadel currently trailing, or at last look was trailing to Chattanooga. But here are the updated standings right up to the second. Wofford and Samford remain the two unbeatens. Georgia Southern trying to push their way up. They would be even with Samford in the Southern Conference if they can win this. But Doug, another tight Southern Conference race shaping up once again.
Isn't it always this way? Is this conference ever, is it ever predictable? You know who's kind of going to be there, but someone always makes it interesting, don't they?
Bit of a heavier rain is certainly starting to fall as Pope brings it out from the 5. Pope gets away at the 20, and he's up close to the 23. A couple of updated scores just showed you the standings around the Southern Conference. We have hit the half. Chattanooga has added to its lead at the Citadel. So the Mocs, who badly need a win, it's been a tumultuous couple of weeks with a shaky quarterback situation. They lead 14-3 at the Citadel. The other games finals and big-time games on the ground. Who will be the running back tonight that adds his name to this list?
Yes, it's just been the day of the running back so far. If you look at these scores and these numbers these guys are putting up, see if we have somebody emerge from this ball game who throws up some wild stats like that. Those are video game stats.
Summerlin looked like he wanted to go to the air. And then he'll take it himself. He's not a guy who wants to run the football. You can tell a little bit tentative. Maybe he got a yard.
He's not a guy that wants to run the football, but you don't want to see your running back, your quarterback, your starting quarterback turn his shoulder and take a shot. Get out of bounds, young man, or slide. Don't take any contact unnecessarily. If you're going to go ahead and run and that's not your thing, then get out of bounds when you do it.
This becomes a big drive here for Samford as they try and validate this 4-0 start, try and beat a ranked team. They haven't done that since the 90s. It'll be Georgia Southern who gets the ball first in the second half, and Samford currently trails by 11. They need some points here.
Need some points, but if this rain picks up anymore, it's going to be in Georgia Southern's favor, taking away that air attack of Samford.
2nd down and 10. Nice play. Deion Stanley reaches the arm around and knocks it away from the intended target.
Deion Stanley said, I don't need no stinking rain to take away the air attack. I'll just play great coverage there. Very active in the back end. Georgia Southern is defensively. Good coverage. And there's our guy again, Eubanks, cleaning him up.
Looking for Jawan Davis there. And it brings up 3rd down and 10. Look out, Summerlin gets hit as he throws this one. Probably affected the throw. And that pick 6 by Lavelle Westbrooks has totally changed the complexion of this game.
You took the words completely out of my mouth. It's like a whole different football game now. The game started off a little bit on a pace, was leaning towards Samford. They looked good throwing and running. And it started to switch a little bit. McKinnon comes in, takes that touchdown to the house. Kind of got the Georgia Southern sideline bubbling a bit. But that interception has gotten this crowd back into it. And has gotten Georgia Southern into it. And their defense is playing very inspired football right now.
Samford's going to use a timeout here, their final one of the half. For a while, Samford's defense had settled in against the Georgia Southern option. Then it was the switch at quarterback. Jerick McKinnon came in. That was the first spark of life for Georgia Southern. Samford's really going to need to rely on this defense as they're about to give the ball back to the Eagles with 3 minutes and 3 timeouts, and they don't need 3 minutes to go the length of the field.
And 3 minutes is not a lot of time. And you think it's really not a lot of time for a running offense. You're wrong. Georgia Southern, that's plenty of time to score with that fast break offense they have.
Folks, can't make it to the championship? Not to worry. Just log on SoCon TV at SoConSports.com, and you can catch all the action for free. SoCon TV, the official video on-demand site for the Southern Conference, broadcasting opening rounds of the SoCon Championship live for free. Visit SoConSports.com for all the information on SoCon TV and to view tournament games, highlights, interviews, and so much more. Peranich, the punter. Darion Robinson to return with a flag down. And it's a beauty from Peranich. We'll go back and check the flag.
Legal formation. Oh, that was Samford. Like they had a referee did not like that formation or whatever they ran there. That motion didn't sit well with my man in the striped shirt.
Yeah, legal share on the kicking team. 2 minutes for motion, then like the 7 yards. 5-yard penalty, tackle from the end kick. 1st down, Georgia Southern.
So it's a 47-yard kick, giving Georgia Southern a little bit better field position. As Pat Sullivan coaches from the box, the former Heisman Trophy winner at Auburn, now in his 6th year with Samford. Doug pointed out a while ago he loves his guys. He has felt a good season coming on ever since last spring. Everything from the classroom to the weight room to the workouts on the field.
Not only is he said he might be a bit superstitious because they've been winning as he's been in the booth. He might have a little bit of weatherman in him. He must have known it was going to rain, staying nice and dry up there.
Home run hitter here, Jonathan Bryant, who averages over 17 yards a touch. We've got a flag coming in, probably against Georgia Southern here.
Yellow hanky gets thrown back behind those big uglies, those big offensive linemen. Might mean somebody got a little aggressive with the hands. A little holding action in there.
Early indication is the block in the back. Here's the call.
Block in the back. Number 71 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, 1st down.
One of those big fellas. That laundry's laying right there. One of the big fellas has done something wrong. This rain is starting to pick up a little bit.
So is the wind.
The driving rain. Yeah, the wind is carrying the rain. It's like it's going right into the faces of the Georgia Southern players.
So it's 1st down and 20 for the Eagles, trying to add to an 11-point lead here before halftime comes. And McKinnon puts it on the turf. That's the first time Georgia Southern has fumbled today. It is the 16th time they fumbled this year. They've lost 7 of them.
And you see him talk to the ref as he's drying his hands off, saying, make sure that ball's dry when you set it down. That rain may be bothering that center to quarterback exchange. See them put the ball on the ground. Fumbles have been an issue for Georgia Southern coming into this football game. They can't afford. They lost 5 of them. They fumbled it 5 times last week. Lost 2.
Fumbles have cost Georgia Southern 1 game, nearly cost them last week. Here's McKinnon with a late pitch out to Robert Brown. Samford had that one snuffed out from the get-go. They're going to lose a yard. Forward progress to the 24. And it's Darrell Hill whose hat comes off. So one of the anchors of that linebacking core will be out for this 3rd down play.
And Hill's a bit shaken up on that one. He's a little slow to get up. Good to see him able to walk off on his own power. That was a good job by that Samford defense. Once again, they have some speed on defense as well at that outside linebacker defensive end and their secondary closing. Good closing speed. Dangerous pitch by McKinnon. That pitch, we were just talking fumbles. He throws a dangerous pitch to a running back. Lucky that ball did not hit the ground.
Georgia Southern needs to get to its own 45. It is 3rd and 21. And it's McKinnon who keeps it and just gets a little bit of room up to the 31 there.
Don't see the punting. There they go. Thought Moncton was going to keep his guys out there and not kick it.
Well, remember, Samford can't stop the clock here.
Right.
So by the time Samford gets the ball back, there's going to be maybe 40 seconds left or so after the end of this play.
Samford's out of timeouts. Georgia Southern has 3.
Last team to beat Georgia Southern here at Paulson Stadium was Samford. Georgia Southern's won 12 straight here. Hawkins wants everyone to stay away, but it takes a Georgia Southern roll. How about that, down to the 20?
20-yard line.
So it's a 49-yard kick thanks to the roll. And Samford's got to move 80 yards in just under 40 seconds.
You think they run a play, you think they just take a knee here and going in down 11. A little rainy out here. Think they just kneel it down here and not try to make a mistake back here where Georgia Southern can get this ball?
2 thoughts. Number 1, Samford has come on strong in the 4th quarters this game, but if you can get something, yeah, I'd try to get something.
They're going for something.
They're going to set up the screen. Gates had the initial bobble, and then he's up to the 29. That's not enough for a 1st down, so the clock will keep running.
They're not rushing to get back on the ball as fast as you would think if they're really thinking they can get points out of this series here. If I'm Coach Sullivan, I'm just hoping not to turn this ball over right now.
Yeah, with just over 10 seconds left, putting it back in the air, in the rain and the wind. And pressure comes on Summerlin, who hangs on to it as he's dropped at the 25. Deion DeBose and Gebhardt both got back there.
Very dangerous, very dangerous. They're living. Samford was. Lucky that ball didn't pop out.
Georgia Southern's defense takes control of the game midway through the 2nd quarter. They get a pick 6 from Lavelle Westbrooks. They change the complexion of their offense a little bit too. And it offset the Samford lead. They had come back from a 7-0 deficit, but Georgia Southern, the 9th-ranked team in the country, leads at 21-10 as we hit the break and send you to the ESPN studios. SoCon Saturday continues here as we head to the 2nd half with Doug Chapman. I am Darren Goldwater. The 9th-ranked Eagles leading the 25th-ranked Bulldogs 21-10. Doug, let's get a look at some of the first half highlights. We've had a little bit of a back-and-forth affair until Georgia Southern started to grab control of it in the 2nd quarter. Here's how we got to that point. First, it was Swope.
Yeah, the Eagles started off a bit slow, then they got things cranking. Swope goes in for 12 yards out, takes it to the score. But Kelsey Pope, I tell you, one of the better receivers in the Southern Conference. You see there, find an open spot. They go 5 wide for the 7-yard touchdown pass. They go from the U, insert McKinnon, insert a touchdown right here. This young man is phenomenal, takes it to the house, 41 yards out. Then they slip up a little bit on offense. They get the ball back to Samford. Westbrooks takes it back, steps in front of Riley, takes it back to the house, 72 yards for the interception return. Really changed the momentum, put Georgia Southern up mentally, and it also put them up on the board.
Time of possession favors Samford. They've got more total yards as well. But the miscues, we were talking about Georgia Southern's miscues coming into the game. The biggest miscue of the game was that pick six, 72 yards by Westbrook.
It absolutely was. You look at it statistically, Samford not able to run the ball well in the first half. Georgia Southern, you know what they do on the ground. Samford had better success through the air. That pick six really, really hurt Samford, not just on the scoreboard, but it hurt the momentum of them on the football game. Let's see if they can retain some of that back, get some of that back in this opening series.
Samford has been a tremendous team in the fourth quarter. In fact, they came back from 21-10 down last week in the fourth to win. The third quarter is going to start with Georgia Southern out at the 25. So not only did that pick six occur, but Georgia Southern also gets it back. All the momentum heading into the locker room, Doug, and now it's their offense that's back out onto the field. And it's going to be Jarek McKinnon in a why not, who's going to be the quarterback here.
Yeah, and you look at the score. The Eagles are up 21-10. They were 0 for 4 on third down conversions. Samford was 50%. They were 6 of 12. That's odd. You think a team that's 50% on third down would be up. Not the case. That interception really, really hurt them.
And don't forget, too, the first points for Samford was a long drive. It stalled out at the 3. So that was 3 instead of 7. Swope is your B back, and it is he who fumbles the football. It is still loose around the 30.
Samford saying they got it.
They had the first crack at it. I think Georgia Southern eventually fell on it.
We talked about this rain starting to come down. Not a heavy rain, more of a misting rain. We all know that ball gets wet. You run that option, there's so much ball handling that goes on. If that ball's a little bit slick, pop out very easily.
First crack certainly was Samford. Because of that slick ball, it was Garrett Fry who recovers for Georgia Southern, and they get 5 yards out of it.
Come on, boys. Let's go.
Second fumble for the Eagles tonight. Neither of them lost. And this is Jonathan Bryant. That's the way to hit. Coming up from the safety spot, it's Pendergrass. Textbook tackling on Jonathan Bryant just across the 25.
Yeah, Michael Pendergrass comes upfield. They pitch the ball to the A-back coming around. As soon as he takes the pitch, Pendergrass is there. Johnny on the spot brings him down. We talked about it. For Samford to get back, not only do they have to make a few plays, they've got to get some momentum going. They lost it all toward the end of that second quarter. Getting it back right now at the beginning of the third.
James Dean sees his first action of the game. Bit of a blocker here for McKinnon, who throws on the run and short hops his intended target. It's a 3-and-out for the Eagles to begin the second half.
3-and-out. They looked a little bit out of sync on that drive. They came out, weren't able to get the run going, had to throw it on third down, which they don't do a lot. Samford's got to feel good about themselves coming out of halftime, able to stop that offense that they had issues with late in the first half. Now let's see if their offense can pick it up and get back into that rhythm that we know they can.
Samford is known for their balanced attack. I mean, they're right around 200 yards, both passing and rushing. But it's been mostly the pass today. You know, can they get Fabian Truss going? That hasn't happened yet. Hawkins backs away from it in traffic, and again, it's a Georgia Southern roll. It's a skill, isn't it, for a punter to make sure you get that positive roll?
It is. They practice the way that comes off their foot. You know, we like to tease kickers and punters that they're really not football players, but I tell you, you love them when they make plays like that to really help your team out.
It's a big day here at Georgia Southern. Not only is this a 9th-ranked team back in action here at home, but it's also an opportunity for Adrian Peterson to go into the Hall of Fame here at Georgia Southern. And now Adrian Peterson joins us, man. Congratulations on going into the Georgia Southern Hall of Fame. There are a lot of good players here at Georgia Southern. It's a big honor, isn't it? We're going to work on our technical difficulties here with Adrian Peterson, basically saying it was a tremendous honor as we work on his microphone here. Just trying to bring in Adrian, who ran for over 9,000 yards in his career with Georgia Southern and then went on to a career in the NFL. We'll get back to that. It's 2nd down and 10. They will try and establish the ground game, but Gebhardt chases down Fabian Truss. 4 yards there for Truss. It'll bring up 3rd down.
Now they've got a long 3rd and long that Samford's facing. They've really done a good job bottling Truss up. Something they weren't able to do with Adrian Peterson when he was here.
Summerlin with a pretty good pocket, and the intended target was Truss. It was slapped away by John Stevenson, a guy who has paid his dues here. He originally walked on. This is the first time he's really been seeing consistent action. He's the leading tackler for Georgia Southern. That was a big play on third down, so back-to-back 3 and outs, one for each side to begin this half.
Two really good defensive stands coming out of halftime. First by Samford, by Georgia Southern, comes right back.
Darian Robinson just is not wanting to take that fair catch.
Fearless.
It's the third time this game he's seen someone bearing right down on him, elects not to wave the hand. Eagles will start at their 29, and when we come back, we hope to have Adrian Peterson back with us. We think we've got it figured out. Couple of 3 and outs, one for each team to begin the third quarter. Darren Goldwater, Doug Chapman. Pleased to be joined by Adrian Peterson, one of the newest members of the Athletic Hall of Fame here at Georgia Southern. Not a bad looking plaque here.
That hardware
not bad, huh?
Looks good. Looks good.
What does it mean to go into the Georgia Southern Hall of Fame? There have been a lot. Tracy Ham, a lot of good football players have walked this field here.
It's a great honor, man. I mean, all of the hard work and when your school appreciates this, it's a great feeling. Great honor.
And Adrian went on from Georgia Southern to have success in the NFL. He played for the Chicago Bears, went to Seattle next, and then now with the Virginia Destroyers in the UFL. And you and I were talking during the commercial break, and you were telling us about what it means to be able to come back, and you see what Coach Monken, you played here in this option, and now it went away for a while after you left, and Coach Monken's back now. He brings back the option, and what that really means, not to just the numbers on the field, but to the fans of Georgia Southern football. This is what they're used to seeing.
Oh, yeah. I think here in Statesboro is built on tradition. Still on the school buses over, and I think it's a great option for them.
And when he says the school buses, Darren and I, as we were getting in here today, we see the school buses, we hear the sirens coming through. I'm like, what is that noise? That's the tradition here at Georgia Southern. They pack the guys on the buses, and they get a police escort in. You hear the sirens going through the stadium as the buses come in, and it's just one of those scenes. If you haven't seen this stadium, they call it the prettiest little stadium in college football.
Yes,
and I tell you that they're not lying about it. It's a beautiful stadium, a lot of tradition here. And since after your football days, can you talk to us a bit about your book that you just put out and what that's all about?
Oh yes, it's called "Don't Diss My Abilities," and basically I just wanted to be an inspiration off the field, because everyone speaks about my stats and all of that, but I had a much harder task, and I just wanted to get everybody to understand what's going on.
And I definitely am going to pick up a copy of that. I just want to first thank you for coming up and talking to us today, and congratulate you on your big day, and not just as a football player, but for what you've done off the field and for what you've been able to do, and to talk about any issues you had, and put the book out there and really open yourself up and expose yourself and let people know more about the Adrian Peterson with the helmet off. They know a lot about the guy that ran for 9,000 yards and broke almost every record here at Georgia Southern, and one of the best college football running backs that FCS probably or college football has seen. But not many people got a chance to really know about you as a person. And I just want to thank you for putting that out there like that.
Adrian was one of the best to ever wear the Georgia Southern blue and white, and he's here watching along with you this top 25 matchup here, which has become a defensive game in the second half. Adrian, man, we appreciate you joining us. Congratulations on your success at the college, the pro level, and now the book as well, and we hope to run into you down the line.
Great honor, man. Great to come on today.
Thank you.
I'm gonna let you keep your plaque.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
It would look good on my shelf.
Yeah, make sure you get that away from Darren, man. He might try to extract the name out and write his on there.
Thank you guys for having me.
I don't have anything that looks quite like that. That's good coverage in the secondary. Lavelle Westbrooks, who had the pick 6 in the second quarter, knocks it away from Hawkins. It would have been a first down reception. It'll bring up 3rd down and 6 here for Samford, trailing 21-10. It's their second possession here of the second half.
And Darren, you hit it. It's turned into a defensive struggle here in the second half. Maybe the rain may have affected and slowed down these offenses a bit, but defensively, both sides have really stepped up and made a lot of plays. You see a 3rd and 6 now for Samford. Georgia Southern's showing blitz.
Yeah, they came with it right up the middle, but Samford picked it up. Summerlin, however, didn't have anyone to throw to. He was looking for Zeke Walters, but he was blanketed by Darius Eubanks. So the 3-and-out show continues here, our defensive stalemate in the third quarter.
I'm extremely impressed with what Georgia Southern's been able to do to negate the rushing attack of Samford. Even in the first half, we know about Fabian Trust. They tried a few other running backs in there, tried to switch them out and put a few other guys in there. They tried with Gates. Outside of a couple positive runs, not really much on the ground for Samford.
You got to love these kickers for Samford. Yaw's got a great leg. Peranich just showed it off too, but Robinson finally had room to return it, and he had just a couple of levels to go. Out to the 44-yard line, Darion Robinson excites the crowd. The first oohs and ahs we've heard here in this second half. It sets Georgia Southern up close to midfield with 9:20. The driving rain continues. It's actually not as bad as it may appear in that camera. The good shot there makes it look a little bit thicker in those drops than it may be, but certainly affecting play. Here's a look at the all-time playoff wins, and we talk about tradition, something that Adrian Peterson is a big part of here at Georgia Southern. This is what we're talking about. Most playoff wins all time. They also have 6 national championships, also an FCS record. And Montana, Appalachian State also on that list. We've already seen them this year on the SoCon Sports Network.
And one thing from traveling the country and doing a lot of college football, no matter what level I'm talking about or no matter where in the United States I am, those schools, when you say those schools, you can be on the West Coast, and they know the tradition. They know how much of a powerhouse those programs are. Top of that list, we talked about it. We're looking at them right now, Georgia Southern. Their name is always in the mix, always. They may start off a little rocky like they did this year, drop a game, but when the dust settles, the Eagles are still standing there.
That's one of the things Jeff Monken uses in recruiting as well. Look, excellence is expected here. It is not okay to lose 4 or 5 games at Georgia Southern. It is expected to go out and win every football game. And it's something that he takes a lot of pride in as well. Here's Robinson on second down, getting very close to the yardage needed for a first down. We may have a measurement coming. He needed the 44. They're going to give it to him straight up. So first down for the Eagles at the Samford 44. That's our first down of this half.
And we know this young man is definitely fearless. You see, he will not fair catch it on punts. And when he gets the ball, he's got bad intentions. He puts that foot in the ground, gets north and south, not running out of bounds at all. Like the way that young man runs the ball. He plays that A-back position. Those 2 backs you see flanking the tackles in this Georgia Southern offense, they're called A-backs. The man with his hand on the ground is the B-back. Love this offense.
McKinnon out to Jonathan Bryan. He hasn't had room to break one and won't have room here either. Trey Wesley, who had an interception in the first half, makes a great stop, putting his shoulder pads into the ankles of Bryan.
Wesley's having a game. Comes up from his defensive back spot. 6'1", 185. Another freshman. Those young football players they've got on that Samford roster. I mean, they've been able to come up and make plays when they had to. It's been a defensive struggle. Georgia Southern's looked pretty good on this drive here, but both defenses have really stepped up here.
Georgia Southern has not yet completed a pass this game. They're going to go back to the ground. Darion Robinson stretching it out, gets popped by Jaquaski Tart. And we're going to have third down coming up here for Georgia Southern. The rain continuing to pick up, Doug. Now it's getting thicker in those drops. I think it will affect, you pointed it out before, Samford more so than Georgia Southern. Samford wants to be more balanced.
One thing it'll affect the passing attack. Also, it'll affect the crispness of the routes that receivers are able to run as the wetter that grass gets. And also in this rushing attack, ball gets slippery, hands get slippery, footwork gets bad. That's when fumbles happen.
Third down and 4. Smooth handoff to Swope, but he's bottled up after a 2-yard gain. In the middle of that line, the only returner on that defensive line, Nick Williams, the redshirt senior and a hometown product out of Birmingham, forces 4th down, and Georgia Southern looks like they're going to go for it.
4th and 4. I believe the rule may be in this option attack. It's 4th and 2. If it's 4th and less than 3, ain't no punt team coming out here, brother. We're going to run this bad boy.
Officially, it is 4th and 2. It is a long
That's
two.
the longest 2 yards I've ever seen in my life.
They need the 36, and the ball is closer to the 39 than the 38, but that's splitting hairs here. 4th and a long 2. And they got to hustle. They just get it off. Swope's got the first down, and he's got some daylight. Swope's off to the races, but he's caught from behind. Swope had the end zone in his sights. Possibly a touchdown-saving tackle made by Porter.
A little bit of hurry-up mode. We haven't called Swope's name a lot as of late. And he sneaks through on 4th and 2, picks up a lot more than 2, almost takes it to the house.
Now a fumble by McKinnon. It's still getting kicked around in there, and it's picked up by Samford. Off to the races goes Jaquaski Tart, and no one's going to catch Jaquaski Tart.
There's been no whistle, no beanbag, no head on the ground, so that's a live ball.
And a touchdown for Samford. Yeah, the rain may affect crispness and passing for Samford. Fumbles have been a problem all year for Georgia Southern, and it bites them here. It makes it a one-possession game.
It bites them. I don't think people understand how important ball handling is in an option attack because there's so much faking, moving around, pitching, handing off, and sometimes that handoff is you ride that B back in there. You're pulling that ball out at the last minute, and a wet ball can throw that off. They've had problems with the ball when it's been dry this year with fumbles. Now, you throw the weather into the mixture, that ball gets a little slick. McKinnon hasn't been the quarterback all year, so he's just getting his feet wet, getting back under center, going through that motion, and it comes back and bites him. Samford able to take that ball back. Big score by Tart.
Huge score for Samford. They had not scored since they went up 10-7. You know, that was early on in the second quarter.
Tart's our guy. He had 14 tackles last week. 3 pass breakups. He's had some big hits today, but no play bigger than what we just saw.
Samford was lining up to go for 2, so the Eagles take a timeout here. You're talking about Jaquaski Tart here, who just made that play. For good reason, Samford and the coaching staff just love Tart, but Doug, he's only been playing organized football since 2009, his last year in high school. He's come a long way. He's only a redshirt sophomore now. They say he's got a lot of learning left to do, and we've seen both the good and the bad for him. Remember, back to the beginning of the game, 2 personal fouls cost Samford dearly for the first drive in Georgia Southern that led to a touchdown. He somewhat makes up for it here.
Yeah, 2 personal fouls. A little aggressive on the punt return. Late hit out of bounds, but you said it. He's young and new to the game. And then he's young and new to this school. He's a sophomore, but you look at his size, 6'1", 220, just a kid. He's still growing. He's got linebacker size, runs like a defensive back, and they've got him back there at safety, and he's a playmaker. And when he really comes full circle and learns the game, he's going to be great. He's good now. He's going to be great.
Bulldogs want to make this a 3-point game. They've got 4 wide, pressure on Summerlin, and he just misses Kelsey Pope. Georgia Southern came with the blitz. They left him open, but Summerlin couldn't connect with Pope. It's still a 1-possession game, just a 5-point deficit for the Bulldogs instead of the 3. Here it is, squirted out on the snap, and Tart runs 80 yards for the touchdown. First touchdown of the year for Tart. 3rd fumble of the game for Georgia Southern. The first one they lost, and it hurts them. An 80-yard touchdown return from Jaquaski Tart. Still breathing a little bit heavy, but he's got the Bulldogs back within 5.
Give him some oxygen over there.
You better catch a couple of breaths here quickly. He's about to go back on defense. Let's get a look around the Southern Conference and see what's going on in the other game that's currently in action. The Citadel and Samford, the 2 surprise teams in the Southern Conference. And the Citadel, which has not lost a SoCon game yet, big time on the back end of things. 13 minutes to go, trailing it by 18.
And the football is so competitive in this conference. I don't think people really understand this. You really follow it. This is the most, I'm going to say arguably, the most competitive conference in FCS football. And year in and year out, you see this every year, that dynamic. And you're seeing it today with Chattanooga and the Citadel.
Wilcox finally has a kick return that he's got room to return, and he takes advantage. Out across the 30, up to the 32. It's a 32-yard return. First kick I can remember tonight that y'all didn't put deep enough into the end zone.
At their own 33
I don't think it's fair, man. It's not fair. Georgia Southern's got so many guys that can touch the football. Yeah, Wilcox, a guy who played running back last year as a safety. You can throw him back there in kickoff return and get that type of production. They've got a lot of talent on this Georgia Southern offense, and they're going to have to use it right now because Samford's sneaking back into this football game.
Samford's got the edge in total yards, and man, do they have the edge in total plays. Samford has run 16 more plays than Georgia Southern. But this option does have big playability. McKinnon has big playability as well. Goodbye, Jarek McKinnon.
It's just not fair.
Touchdown, Georgia Southern, his second of the day. This is 67 yards.
Right on cue. You talk about the talent they've got. Guys they can move around and put in different positions. Insert a new quarterback with McKinnon. Takes it to the house. Tell you, man. They got talent galore on the offensive side of that football for Georgia Southern. Talk about redemption, huh? Put the ball on the ground. What do? You come back, say, I got this, coach. Don't worry.
I give you an 80-yard touchdown. I'll take a 67-yarder myself.
Even this thing out a little bit.
So Jarek McKinnon has a 41-yarder today and a 67-yarder today. The extra point is up and through from Alex Hanks, the freshman who took over the starting job at kicker last week. McKinnon took over the starting job at quarterback in the second quarter of this game, and I'm not so sure he's going to let this thing go.
And McKinnon sees that they close down the read for the dive to the B-back. He does what he's coached up to do, but then you can't coach this. You cannot coach speed. You can tell your young man where to go, but the rest is up to him. McKinnon says, you know what? Sorry, coach, I put it on the ground. Let me make this up to you. Touchdown, Georgia Southern.
McKinnon, man, he can do it all, Doug.
That's pretty good for the average there, huh?
Yeah, that's okay.
7 for 131. I'll take that.
That's almost 20 yards a carry.
I'll take it. If I'm him, I'll take it. Won't complain about that one.
That was my quick math there. 7 for 131. Yes, that is almost 20 yards a carry there. McKinnon has seen time at quarterback. He's even played on the defensive side of the ball. Last year he did it in the playoffs, had a pick. He's been a B-back. This year he put on weight so that the coaches could use him in other spots on the field, just so they could get their athlete on the field.
And he's one of what you see in college football. They're not recruiting running backs and wide receivers. These colleges aren't. They're recruiting athletes. They're recruiting guys that can run, that can move, that can make plays. You get them on campus, and you find a position for him. Think about McKinnon. He's found a lot of positions. They line him up at B-back, line him up at A-back. See what he can do at quarterback. He can catch it, he can throw it. 2 interceptions in the playoffs last year at defensive back. He's what my old running back coach of the Minnesota Vikings used to call a football playing Jesse. Just put him out there, give him a helmet, shoulder pads, let him play.
Give him the ball, let him go make a play. Truss looked like he wanted to take that one away from Pope. Pope found a little bit of a seam, and he'll get up close to the 25-yard line. Ever since the first kickoff of the game that went to Fabian Truss, Georgia Southern has wisely kicked it away from Truss, who's 4th in the nation in kick return average.
That's smart coaching there. That's it. That'll make pretty good sense. I'm not going to kick the ball to a young man who has the ability to flip the field, or not just flip it, take it to the house on me. I tell you, if you're Samford right now, you hear that crowd. They got that chant going. These Georgia Southern fans are in the rain. They're rocking and rolling because their team has got a little life. Let's see if Samford can put together a drive.
See if they can get Truss going. He's only got just over 40 yards in the game. He averages 112. They'll try on first down, and that's not going to happen there.
And you know what? Truss is one of those backs that's the most effective when his shoulders are facing parallel to the line of scrimmage, not sideways. He has not been able to really turn that corner and get going. He's had a couple nice runs early in the first quarter, but as of late, Georgia Southern's defense has done a good job not letting him get going.
That was the goal coming in, take away Truss. They've done it. 2nd down and 9, blitz coming for Georgia Southern straight up the middle, and Summerlin goes long and too long, looking for Riley Hawkins.
I tell you, that's good coverage. If you look at it, lane cover 2, they bring the blitz. You got Westbrooks underneath at the corner, does a good job holding Hawkins up. Eubanks over the top. But either way, they don't convert. Offensive line for Samford has done a good job. When they've seen blitz, they've picked it up nicely. But that secondary for Georgia Southern has done an even better job not letting the receivers get behind them.
6 out of 14 on third downs, but Samford has missed on its last 5 third downs. They'll look for Hawkins, and it's too tall. 3 and out for Samford. Third time they've gone 3 and out in 3 possessions this half.
John Stevenson's bringing pressure. He blitzes and kind of gets in Summerlin's face. Summerlin's forced to get rid of that ball a little early. Hawkins not quite out of his break yet. That ball was thrown actually, and it was a little bit high. Not sure if he would have been able to bring it down, even if he knew it was coming. That's that pressure. Georgia Southern's going to come after you all night long. They've been in the face of Summerlin. Offensive line has done a good job, but they get a free runner there. Almost gets to the quarterback.
Not one of Peranich's best efforts. He's going to give Robinson some room on a low-line drive. Well covered, though.
Good job by the coverage team. Get down there. That was one of those easy returnable kicks. Not a lot of hang time, but you see one of those running backs for Samford getting down there, able to cover. That's Stanley Robinson. I'd like to see your guys that can, like you said, talk about playing more position. Football playing Jesse's, man. Line them up at running back, set them down on punt team. Gotta love that, man.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned football playing Jesse, because we're gonna see a little bit of one
Yes,
here.
we
Jarek
are.
McKinnon, a couple of long touchdown runs. He's been a difference maker.
Nah, man, difference maker. He's electric. You love to see a guy like this get the ball and puts the ball on the ground, redeems himself, takes it to the house, puts his team back up 28-16. He's back on the center, working again.
Keeping it on the option. Look out. Oh, you could just see it developing again. It's only 11 yards for Jarek McKinnon.
He's one of those guys, man. You can see it, his body language. You can tell by his moxie. They like to use that word swagger. You see how he walks around. Once he gets hot, he's dangerous. Don't let him get started. You got to stop this guy. Make him pitch the ball. Make him hand it off. Even though they have great ball carriers, I'd rather have one of them carrying it than a hot-handed Jarek McKinnon right now.
We asked the question about an hour and a half ago, who would be the player from this game to put his name alongside other running backs in the league tonight? I think we've got our answer. 5 yards on first down here for Georgia Southern. We've had a record day in the Southern Conference with Eric Breitenstein from Wofford. A new league record, 321 yards today. Gerodis Williams from Furman went crazy, over 200 yards on the ground. Same thing for Appalachian State. Stephen Miller, over 200 yards. Mr. McKinnon here could very well get to that 200-yard mark before we're done.
I'm envious, man. I'm a little jealous. As a former running back myself, all this ground and pound we've been seeing today, I love to see it, man. I'd love it if I had a little bit left in me, Darren. I'd get out there and take a couple snaps.
That's tackled by Jaquaski Tart. Didn't let McKinnon spin away from it. It'll bring up third down and 1. Did you have the wiggle of McKinnon? Were you more of a McKinnon wiggle or a Breitenstein, I'm going to pound you?
I had a little bit of wiggle. I was more of a, I'd like to pound it out, break a few runs. But I tell you, those guys, like McKinnon's a little smaller than I was. He's one of those guys that he has to have some wiggle because they have a lot of size to him. But I tell you, he's a guy, like that was an excellent play by the defense by Samford. You bottle him up because if he gets a crease, it's over. You cannot give him a crease. Make him go sideline to sideline. And then hopefully here, make him throw the football. That's the only thing he hasn't done well tonight.
I don't need to here. Third down and 1. Oh, big hit. The linebacker Sutton came up and hit Swope as he took the handoff. And it backs up Georgia Southern on third down and 1. It'll be fourth down and a couple.
Excellent gamble. Not sure if Sutton called his own number, if that was a call blitz. They blitzed Sutton through the A-gap. The A-gap is where that B-back Swope wanted to go straight downhill the dive. Sutton's right there, meets him in the A-hole. Only had to get 1 yard. It's taken back 2 yards. Brings up, it was third and 1. They're punting, now it's 4th and 3.
Third-year starting linebacker there, Darian Sutton. Biggest play he's made tonight. One of the better punts from Cherry. Thought this one had more of the angle. This one went out of bounds.
See what those
Much
refs.
farther up than I thought.
Oh, yeah.
Got it inside the 20, but it's at the 19. He was hoping for a better effort than that. But this Georgia Southern defense has bottled up the Samford offense all throughout the half. Samford does not have a first down yet in this half.
Yeah, they made some good adjustments at halftime. Georgia Southern did, and they've come out and they've really basically taken away the rushing attack of Samford.
Doug, I know you are. I know I am. We're fans of the Southern Conference with social media. You follow them on Twitter.
Absolutely.
Well, here's all you got to do. You can follow him on Facebook and on Twitter at SoCon Sports. Get the latest news, scores, updates, and events from around the league, including SoCon Championship action. Don't forget, you can check out interviews and highlights available on both outlets as well, Twitter and Facebook.
I follow SoCon. I follow you on Twitter too, Darren.
I mean, if you don't follow me, that's a problem.
That would be. If we wouldn't, I don't think we'd get along very well.
I don't think so at all. So they went play action on first down. It'll be 2nd and 10 with Cephas the intended target. Doug, you get the sense that as Georgia Southern has taken away the running game, suddenly Summerlin hasn't been as comfortable either. I mean, it's, what comes first, chicken or the egg here?
Summerlin hasn't. Have we heard the name Kelsey Pope lately?
Oh.
Yeah, his name was called early and often in the first half. Been kind of quiet here in the second.
Got a throw on 2nd down, and that's incomplete, looking for Kelvin Clay. These defensive backs and linebackers, they've been all over the place. This was Deion Stanley.
And what I've noticed more in the second half that I didn't see in the first half is when someone would drop back and let the ball go, whatever receiver he threw it to had about 2 or 3 yards of space once he caught the football before anyone made contact. Now, whenever he's hitting a receiver, there's a blue jersey within a foot of them. Much tighter coverage. They've changed up their scheme here. Now they're making a lot of noise, and this play clock's down to single digits. Samford's got to hurry and get this play off.
2 seconds on the play clock. Just get it off for 3rd down and 10. Summerlin looking for Cephas, and it's not even close. Another 3 and out for Samford.
I'm going to tell you what they're doing. Georgia Southern is playing cover 2. They're leaving their safeties back. Their safeties are playing on each hash and they're backpedaling. You know why? Because the corners for Georgia Southern have really stepped up and they're getting very physical with the receivers of Samford. They're not allowing them a free release off the line, so they're jamming them, not particularly stopping them, but by the time they get into their route, the blitz they're bringing from the inside with the linebackers and the pass rush they're getting, someone has to throw the ball. Had let that one go early, overthrows everything.
He's averaged 42 yards a kick tonight. This one might be the best yet. It'll stop at the 22.
Ball down to 22-yard line. Barely will take over.
That's a 59-yard kick for Peranich. It's one of the strengths for Samford, their kicking game. But right now their offense needs to get in gear because Georgia Southern's defense and Jarek McKinnon under center have taken firm control of this game. A 12-point lead with just under 2 minutes to go in the third.
And an offense that's cranking the way Georgia Southern has been lately, you want to leave them on the sideline for a while. Samford wasn't able to do that, weren't able to put together a drive long enough. You got an offense that's lathered up the way this Eagle offense is, and they're right back on the field with all that momentum going. Let's hope Samford's defense can stop them.
Robert Brown's got a bit of a crease. Brown gets to the 3rd level, and he's got the first down. I tell you, it's any one of them who can take it the distance.
And you know what, Darren, from following this Georgia Southern offense and following this team as closely as we do, we always have our eye on the Southern Conference. Isn't it one of those offenses just a rhythm thing? You see here, you can put any guy out there, and when they get going, they get going. You see Brown there, could be Swope. You see what McKinnon's been doing. They can put any ball carrier back there. Robinson could be the guy, number 7. But when it's cranking, it's really cranking, and it's really fun to watch if you're a Georgia Southern fan.
Swope had the early touchdown, but we haven't seen a whole lot of Swope. This is his carry on first down. It shouldn't surprise us that Brown can have some big runs. I mean, here's a guy who's a junior who's had over 2,000 yards, or nearly 2,000 in his first 2 seasons. He had 1,000 as a freshman, 900 change last year. So, and then Swope, freshman of the year. McKinnon's got speed to burn.
You see Swope number 6, Brown number 5. You've got a problem on your team, or you've got 2 B-backs that can run for 1,000 yards. You got a pretty good problem.
2nd and 5. And maybe a yard that time for Swope. And what could very well be the final play of the 3rd quarter.
That's another thing about this offense. Doesn't it eat some time up? If you're Samford and you're looking at the field, you're like, man, he said, we got to get them off the field. They're so good on 3rd down also. It's not like normal teams on 3rd and 4. They're in the shotgun trying to pass. This is a team that's going to line up under center, try to run it. And more often than not, they pick it up.
That's the danger of the option. They're going to lull you to sleep, and then bam, the big playability is just as potent for an option team that is as well schooled as Georgia Southern as the big playability of, say, a big-time passing attack. So 3 quarters are in the book. In our top 25 Southern Conference matchup, Jerick McKinnon and the Eagles have the 12-point lead and the ball to begin the fourth after this. Darren Goldwater and Doug Chapman from Paulson Stadium in Statesboro, where the Eagles have won 12 straight games and they've got a 12-point lead. To begin the fourth, looking at 3rd down and 4. It's all been on the ground for Georgia Southern. 268 yards. A lot of it courtesy of Jerick McKinnon, but he's not going to pick up the first down here. Justin Shade, the backup middle linebacker, who really sees a ton of time backing up shoulders, makes the stop.
Yeah, Shade and shoulders. The strong linebackers they have on this team. Make a strong play there, stopping McKinnon. Pretty much what he does is he pulls that ball out from his B-back's belly. B-back leads through there. He follows behind him. It's like an ISO from the quarterback position. Good recognition by those linebackers to jump back and jump inside and fold in, make the play, because McKinnon gets through that crease, he's gone.
Sherry hangs one up there for Hawkins. The Eagles are going to begin at the 16. The fourth quarter has been, Samford will begin at the 16. The fourth quarter has been the Bulldogs' time this year. They were down 21-10 last week at Western Carolina. Outscored Western 15-0 in the fourth to come back and win that game. Thus far in the fourth quarter this season, Samford has outscored 4 opponents 27-6. They're down by 12 here, absolutely within reach, but this offense needs to get on track. They don't have a first down this half.
They've got to get some running attack on it, try to do a little screens, maybe a little draw. They've got to make the defense play honest. Georgia Southern's been blitzing the daylights out of them. Let's see what they can do here on offense to try to change that.
Basic 4-down look here, and Fabian Truss.
Handoff goes to Jeremiah Gates.
Beg your pardon, it was Gates, not Truss.
Look so much alike.
They do.
Can't really tell that jersey's so tight. You can't really see his jersey number from up here, but they're built the same way. You can't tell who's who.
Gates has really done a nice job spelling Fabian Truss. Seems to be more willing to take on big contact. 2nd down and 4. They're going to try him again through the middle of the line. He's got a couple. It'll bring up 3rd down and 2.
And you may be watching saying they're only picking up a couple of yards at a time here. They put themselves now in the third management instead of coming out on 1st down throwing it, not getting any yardage. 2nd down throwing it, not getting any yardage, and it's 3rd and 10. 3rd and 2 is much easier to handle than 3rd and 10 and 3rd and long. But they have to keep the defense honest. I like how they came out and have run the ball, put themselves in a decent situation.
They've missed their last 7 third down opportunities. They started the game 6 of 9 on 3rd down, Samford did. They need 2 yards here. They need to get to the 27. Here comes the blitz. And Summerlin goes deep for Clay. What a catch! Did he hold on?
Yes, he
They'll
did.
say yes, he did. Kelvin Clay lays out and makes a tremendous catch.
They have been going to that route all evening, not able to get it because the pressure from Georgia Southern has been getting there, making Summerlin let go of it too early. Lets go of it a little earlier than he wants, puts a little too much air on it. That's what your receiver's supposed to do, young man. Kelvin Clay lays out and gets it.
Now it's Truss down to the 40 for 3 yards. Maybe that can give Samford a little bit of life. I mean, that wasn't your typical 3rd down and 2 conversion. If that catch isn't made, you're punting back to the Eagles, 12-point deficit.
And for the mindset also, they've been spending a lot of time in their own territory. Now they're in Georgia Southern's territory, so maybe a little boost of morale from that offense.
Really the first time they've hit that long ball. It helps that the rain has really subsided now. 2nd down and 7. That's the All-American Brent Russell asking the crowd to get into it. Summerlin over the middle, and it's incomplete with a flag coming in. Patrick Flo, the freshman middle linebacker, was all over Fabian Truss.
Coverage has been tight. It got tighter in the second half. Got a little bit too tight right there. drops back, has good timing. They run that crossing route. They're in man-to-man coverage. Flo, just a freshman. He was a yard deep. They're allowed to bump. They have a 5-yard bump rule. He was about 6 yards downfield when he had a little bit too much contact. It's hard to tell when you're in the middle of that field and you're an interior player like Flo is, but can't touch those guys once you pass 5 yards.
It's a huge drive for Samford's offense. Mention wraps the ankles of Summerlin, who throws it low, but did Clay hang on?
It looks like they're going to give him that catch.
Oh, Kelvin Clay with his second great grab of this drive.
The crowd does not like that.
See if we can't get a better look of Clay trying to scoop this thing up.
Look at Monken's face. Monken is not a happy camper right now. Not a lip reader. Let him say what he just said on national TV.
2nd down and 5. Summerlin hit again as he throws. It was nearly picked, and it gets through to Cephas, who makes the catch.
Wow.
The football gods are smiling on the Bulldogs this drive.
2 really tough catches, and they need these plays right now. And they're getting them.
Trying to score to make it a 1-possession game. Samford's offense has not scored in quite some time. Kelsey Pope's receiving touchdown early on in the second quarter. Fabian Truss waits for the blockers to set up and gets a couple of yards on 1st down.
And we all know how good of a back Fabian Truss is. Coming into the game averaging 112 yards per game and 6.5 yards a carry, but the Georgia Southern defense has done an excellent job bottling him up to the point where they're rotating backs. He's not on the field all the time. But he has not been as effective as he's been all year versus this Georgia Southern defense.
A defense that has been excellent in the red zone. Really limiting opponents' touchdowns once they get in here. And they've done it again tonight. Here's 2nd and 7. Good pocket for Summerlin. He's got his tight end Walters inside of the 10, but shy of a 1st down.
And on the coverage there was Flo again. Flo had the tight end coverage, almost the same exact route that he interfered with Truss. He wasn't as aggressive and allowed the catch to be made in front of him.
Samford's first points came on a drive stalled out at the 3. Georgia Southern's defense trying to stiffen here again. 3rd down and 3. They need to get to the 5. Plays the motion man and the decoy for Jeremiah Gates. And Gates is hit shy of the 1st down by Eubanks. Did he fall forward enough? Becomes a pretty big spot.
See how generous the refs are going to be to Samford.
Got to measure this. Yeah, they're going to bring out the chains. Nope, they're not.
They're calling him short.
Yeah.
Play of the game for Samford.
You got to go, because if you kick a field goal, it's still a 9-point game.
Does you no good. Big decision. Big decision for Coach Sullivan. Let's think about it a little bit.
And remember, Pat Sullivan is not the one on the sidelines. Pat Sullivan is coaching from up in the box. He'll radio the calls down to Samford.
He did let us know. He was actually slightly adamant about it, that, hey, I may be up in the box, but I get the last call. Believe that, buddy. You're looking at a Heisman winner there.
He said he wasn't surprised at all when his team came back last week from a 21-10 fourth quarter deficit. He said for the first time in his tenure at Samford, he believed in his guys. He thought that he had the players. He said all along that he loves this team, and he just always had a belief they were going to win. He certainly doesn't look nervous here, although this becomes the play of the game.
He's been here. He's seen a lot of big-time football in his day, and like you said, that trust factor he has in his team. I think he trusts them enough to whatever play they've called here, he trusts his guys enough to the point that he thinks they can convert this 4th down. Let's see if they can execute for the old ball coach.
Couple of tight ends in. Fabian Truss is hit at contact by Eubanks, and he lost yards, if anything, Doug. It's Eubanks again.
He has made a lot of plays tonight. Maybe none bigger than that one there.
Yeah, and a lot of them have come at the expense of Fabian Truss. So the senior, who is starting for the second straight year, the former linebacker, comes up and, like he's done all game, hits like a linebacker. Forces a turnover on down. When you've got 6 national championships and more playoff wins than anyone at the FCS level, expectations are high at Georgia Southern. Here's what Jeff Monken thinks about those expectations here in Statesboro.
If you set expectations that are high and you develop a set of standards that meet those expectations, then your chances to get the results that you want are a lot better. So there are high expectations at our institution for how we perform and the things we do in our football program. We set standards to try to meet those expectations, and I think our kids have done a great job of coming close to what the ultimate expectation is.
Would you love to play for a guy like that? He seems real calm in that soundbite there. We got a chance to meet him. He's a very intense coach, and it starts at the top down. His team feeds off of his intensity. Look at him right there. He look calm?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think calm is a word I would usually describe for Jeff Monken. But yeah, very intense, demands perfection. And he said to us this week, I don't want anyone to score on our defense. It's not about just winning football games. We don't want people to score.
And I like to use a term, as a player, to win, you got to bring it. But you got to have coaches that also bring it. What I mean by that is they got to bring a game plan, a defensive scheme, an offensive scheme every week that's set up to beat the team they're playing. And Monken and his staff do a great job with getting their guys prepared every week, and then they execute, and you've got the guys on the field that can bring it. You got a staff that's bringing it. That's why they're so successful here.
It's a heck of a play by Robinson to stay in bounds, dive over a pile to pick up the first down right there. You know, and those expectations speak to the feeling around here at Georgia Southern. They're 9th in the country. They're 2-1. Yet the feeling this week that I've gotten is that, well, it's not great around here right now. Yet
they're spoiled, but a good spoil. They're used to winning. They're used to win. They're used to winning a certain way. And if they're not, they're upset. That's the fans you like, though, because you know their program's good. Those are the fans that if the team scores 28, they want them to score 30. They know they can.
It's a big week for Georgia Southern, too. I mean, they've dominated the FCS level, but they have taken the first step necessary if they want to move up. The students had a big vote this week, and they passed 2 measures, 3 of them really, but 2 very football-related. One to expand the stadium, approving fees for that, and another approving fees should Georgia Southern ever jump to the FBS level. It doesn't mean they're going to anytime soon, but if that chance comes around, Georgia Southern is now ready to take that step. McKinnon downfield for Sumner. First completion of the game for Georgia Southern, and it flips the field down to the Bulldogs 46.
And Darren, my brother, you said it earlier. You said they don't throw it a lot, but the way they're set up, when they do throw it, they pick up huge chunks of yardage. McKinnon's been showing that run action, showing that dive, lulling the defense to sleep. And then guess what happens when you lull those secondary guys to sleep? They're staring in the secondary. They're staring into your backfield. Tyler Sumner's tight end sneaks behind a young man from Pooler, Georgia, right down the road from here. Picks up a big chunk of yardage.
Just about 40 minutes away, Pooler, Georgia. And they love Tyler Sumner here. He's done a lot for this team. He's changed positions. He's put on weight. Was a wide receiver. Now he's, more of a role player. Played a big role in this game. Now it's 1st and 10. Did they get a piece of McKinnon's face mask?
I think that went uncalled there.
They did. Tart then put a big hit on him.
I want to. Let's see. They're going
He's not down by
to have some clock issues. We're talking about Georgia Southern setting themselves up for the future. They want to make that move to FBS. And when I was at Marshall, we spent a year at the FCS level, and I remember when we moved up the following year, when I came to that program, it was a program ready-made for the FBS level. And that's what they're doing here at Georgia Southern. They have the product on the field. And when you go and you ask the student body, if we raise fees because this is what we want to do, and they overwhelmingly say yes, that shows that you have the support of the city. You have their support. You have the support of the school. You have the support of the administration. And then you put a product on the field like this, whenever it is time to make that move, they're going to have more than one suitor.
Back-to-back big hits by the Samford defense. Shade led the tacklers there. Calvin Ruff, the lineman, was also in on it. And Jeff Monken has been very outspoken. He's not saying, I want to go right now. He's saying, I'm in favor of what's in the best interest of the university. And if expanding our stadium is in the best interest, I'm for it. Because we have students who are sitting on the hill. We need more seats. And if going up to the next level is beneficial to the university, then fine. I just want it to be the best interest of the school. And now they're at least in position to do it.
And that shows the confidence he has, not just in his football team, but in this program, in this school, to come out and say that, to know that the school won't embarrass him if he makes that move. He knows what he's got here in his football team, and he knows facility-wise they're going to get it going here to where they're going to put on a good show whenever they do decide to make that move. Like you said, he's not sitting he doesn't have a hard date set in stone, but he's been around enough football to know that a program like this is very, very attractive to the FBS level. These guys, they take a look down. A lot of these Southern Conference programs are very attractive. So he knows if kind of like being alone on a date. We talked about it last night, remember? I said
I remember.
If you make yourself look good enough, you go out, get a lot of people hitting on you. There's going to be a lot of people hitting on Georgia Southern. They keep this up.
The Doug Chapman problems. I don't know what that's like. I know you do.
You got to look the part, brother.
I know you got that athlete's body. Hawkins better stay away from that one. Georgia Southern pins Samford at the 9. 4:39 to go. The Bulldogs with their backs up against the wall now, down by 12. The question for Samford coming into tonight's game, can they validate a 4-0 start and a 2-0 start to the league? First time they're 4-0, first time they're ranked since 1995, both of them. And the question for Georgia Southern, can they knock off a team that's ahead of them in the Southern Conference standings? Can they avoid that second loss, which would really put them in a tight spot in terms of winning the league and getting back to the playoffs? So far, Georgia Southern has been the one, particularly in the first half of momentum swings, they're the ones that seem to be more tested in games like this.
They are, and they faced a test versus an undefeated team that came in hot. They slipped up a bit against the Citadel. They get Samford, they get out here with a victory. They go to Western Carolina, and they get Wofford at home. That's a huge game.
Flat-footed Summerlin misfires looking for Pope. It's a big start here for Samford, this stretch. With these
and it doesn't get
tough
easier.
Teams coming up. No.
They have the Citadel next, and they have App State. They go on the road to Chattanooga. It does not get easier for either of these teams.
Okay. Second down and 10, back to the air. Cephas avoided the big hit. It looked like that was coming from. There was a Patrick Flo. It'll bring up third down. And a very long 2.
This block is not Samford's friend. Georgia Southern's able to sit back and play cover 2, keep their safeties fairly deep. Just let everything develop in front of them, come up and make the play, and they're doing a good job.
3rd and 3, they leave a man wide open, Riley Hawkins, and it's a first down for the Bulldogs. Yeah, what Georgia Southern has done, they've really taken away that running game, this balanced attack. We talked about it all game. The reason Samford's 4-0, they're so balanced. Jeff Monken said maybe the most balanced team at our level, but today it's been the pass. It has not been there on the ground.
I think it's because of that man you see right there, number 66, Russell. You may not hear his name called a lot, but he gets so much attention up front. He has to get double teamed, and that can really shut your running attack down. When you have a dominant defensive player at your tackle or your nose guard position on your defense, plugs a lot of gaps, makes the running back bounce out. When you have the team speed that Georgia Southern has, when a running back bounces, there is not going to be anywhere for him to run because there's going to be blue jerseys there waiting for him. But it all starts with that man right there, number 66. Talk about War Daddy. I wouldn't want to block him all night.
Second down and 10. Summerlin rolls right his way, but gets away from him, and then takes a hit as he releases it. Patrick Flo once again.
Someone's getting up a little gingerly, making his way back to the huddle.
Summerlin won the job after transferring in from Memphis. Actually, his 3rd school he's been a part of. Community college, then Memphis, now here. And Summerlin's got to sit down here.
Hopefully for Samford, it's just a cramp. Nothing too major. walking off, so we can get him on the sideline and try to work that cramp off now. Who comes into the ball game?
Well, Ben Neal will likely come in, but yeah, he's walking off on 3rd down and 10 with 3:40 to go, down 12.
And he's going to have to take a play off since he has been helped off the field. He cannot return for the next play, so he will be taking a play off. Come in and spell him. You said it, Ben Neal, the junior. He doesn't even have his mouthpiece in.
Just shy of his 21st birthday, he does have experience. He played in every game as the backup last year. This is his 2nd game action this year. Tight spot for him, 3rd and 10. And the defensive line gets to him as they've gotten to Summerlin all night. The ends converge. Dion DeBose was the first one to get in there.
You talk about walking into a tough situation. 3rd and 10 on the road at Georgia Southern, backed up, down 28-16. You haven't been on the field all night, and they put you in against that defense. Excellent coverage for Georgia Southern on the backside. That's a coverage sack. He had nowhere to throw that football. A guy like that comes in, does not want to make a mistake, doesn't want to just air it out. Holds on to it. Those blue jerseys get there and bring him down.
Low spiral from Peranich with a die at the 44. Not one of his better efforts tonight. And Georgia Southern's got it back with a 12-point lead after their defense registers another sack, this one on Ben Neal, courtesy of the senior Dion DeBose. Georgia Southern's defense, top 10 defense in the country, has asserted its dominance here in the second half, really preventing Samford from mounting a serious threat. Elsewhere around the league, big days on the ground. The final that just recently went final, the Citadel falls for the first time in conference play after upsetting Georgia Southern, then stunning Appalachian State. The Bulldogs fall to Chattanooga at home. And we've talked about it all throughout the night, the big-time rushing performances around the league. Miller for App. Breitenstein sets a SoCon record for Wofford, and Gerodis Williams for Furman. Jarek McKinnon will add his name to that list. After this performance, that's another first down for McKinnon. He's got close to 160 yards now on 12 carries and a couple of touchdowns.
I tell you, man, all he needs is a crease. Not the biggest guy, very well put together. Not a very tall guy, 5'9", just over 205 pounds, but I mean, he can get there in a hurry.
He was the spark plug that lit this Georgia Southern offense to life. After Georgia Southern scored first, Samford got a couple of scores. They were up 10-7. A couple of 3 and outs for Georgia Southern, and Jarek McKinnon came into the game in place of Izzy Ute under center. And the offense has been markedly different. The threat of McKinnon on the ground, and not only the threat, but his explosive plays. 2 touchdown runs of over 40 yards, one of them over 60. Changed the complexion of the game, that combined with Georgia Southern's defense.
So you call guys like McKinnon doctors. You know why?
Why, Doug?
They can make a lot of house calls from anywhere on the field. Can take it to the house. You've seen what he can do. But you know what I like about that last play? He knows how much time's on this clock. He could have pitched it, could have tried a little something fancy. He said, you know what, I'm just going to get in the middle of the field here, go down. Now he's wisely milking this play clock. Smart football player as well as explosive.
I should have had that one.
Dr. McKinnon.
I should have gotten the doctor. Second down and 10, look out. House call for Dominique Swope.
Dr. Swope.
43 yards for Swope. And that all but seals it for Georgia Southern.
You gotta love when you have multiple players on your offensive side of the ball that can take it the distance from anywhere. And Swope, talked about him earlier in the open, got a bit quiet. They inserted Brown at that B-back position. Swope gets back in there and takes this one in, puts the nail in the coffin for Georgia Southern.
A couple of touchdowns tonight for Swope. Had the first one for the Eagles and for the game. And it is 35-16 Georgia Southern. We've got a late flag coming in here too.
Some extracurricular activity in that mosh pit down there. The big guys are a little tussle down there.
There's no foul on the previous play. The try is good.
Well,
No tussle.
No tussle. No tussling.
Here's another look at the Swope touchdown, which puts him over 100 yards for the game.
McKinnon took one long. Swope said, I can do it too. That play, that B back, they love to give that dive straight down through the A gap left. They go A gap right. The defense for Samford, they guess wrong. They slant out of position. Swope is in position, untouched, into the end zone.
Sixth career 100-yard day for Swope. Fifth straight game with a touchdown. He's got 2 of them.
Somebody must have told them about the big days had by backs across the league. So they said, you know what, you guys had one guy on your team have big days. We're going to have 2 guys go over 100 yards today.
Yeah, but the 2 of them combined still don't equal Breitenstein.
They do not. That is true. Breitenstein had a monster day. Yeah, you got to give him that.
Reason to feel good for Georgia Southern. Now, looking down the line, you're going to hear Jeff Monken say that he still has to cure the fumble issue. They did put it on the turf 3 times tonight. They lost one of them. That one that they lost, the only score for Samford this half, it was an 80-yard fumble return for a touchdown. But all things considered, this was a very good game for Georgia Southern and Jeff Monken. They needed to assert themselves as a power.
And they had to. And we may watch this game think they have, but I guarantee you Coach Monken this week is going to coach them up harder. Because now he sees what his team can do when they're clicking on all cylinders and not going to turn the ball over as much as they have been. But I'm sure he's not satisfied with what he's seen.
Finally, another try for Fabian Truss, returning that squib kick. And he's up to the 28 with 1:22 to go. Samford has 2 timeouts to work with. Now, all is not lost for Samford either. This was a game to show them where they are. They made the mistakes that hurt more than Georgia Southern's mistakes. You clean up some of those mistakes. The pick 6, particularly late in the first half, which made it 21-10. I mean, that changed the complexion of the game. They've got big games coming up, but they should feel good about where they are compared to where they have been the last few years.
They've got big games. Fortunately for them, Georgia Southern's going to get their second Southern Conference win. They'll be 2-1, and so will Samford. So they already have 2 wins in the conference now. Look at the big picture for them. Next week they get an angry or a very angry Citadel team. Then they get App State. They get them at home, fortunately. But it doesn't get easier, but they've got to look at themselves and evaluate. And we talked about the balance of their attack coming into this football game. And they see where they are when a team takes away one aspect of that balance. Fabian Truss was neutralized in all facets of the football game. Georgia Southern did a great job, had a great game plan, so other teams are probably going to watch this film to see how to stop this Samford offense.
Here's how you stop it. Get the best D-line in the country and work from there. Summerlin, who's clearly still limping after going off on the last drive, misses on 1st and 10, stopping the clock with 56 seconds to go. Now, that has to be a big part of why Truss has 50 yards on the ground. This defensive line controlled the line of scrimmage.
And that's that. Guys like Russell up front. And, he's the leader of that pack up front, and they just got so many good football players, and Riley and Gebhardt, DuBose, Javon Manchin. They can rotate those guys. They keep them fresh. And if they can keep those guys healthy, it's going to be very, very hard to move the ball on the ground against this defense.
There's Hawkins bringing it in at the 35. That'll stop the clock briefly. Not only has that defensive line helped shut down the run, 4 sacks for Georgia Southern tonight. Samford had allowed 3 in its first 4 games.
Yeah, they get after the passer, and they're very aggressive in their play call. They will blitz you on 3rd and short. They'll come after you. They'll run blitz you. They'll zone blitz you. They do a lot in the back end. They try to disguise their coverage. You see there, they're getting pressure again.
And he fumbles.
Right on cue, they called it. They get to the quarterback again.
The ends, it was Agnew and Williams who converged on Summerlin that time. And we've got a Samford timeout here. We get another look.
Summerlin just has nowhere to go with this football. You don't want your quarterback holding the ball that long. He has nowhere to go. Fortunately for them, Gates falls on the ball, but it's been that type of night for Summerlin and the Samford offense. It's just you take away one aspect of their balanced attack, which is Fabian Truss, who's a huge part of that balanced attack. We talked about came in tonight averaging over 6 yards a carry. You eliminate him, you become one-dimensional, and it makes it easy for a defense to sit back on the backside in coverage, and they bring 4, blitz a couple. The linebackers have been getting a lot of pressure, and it makes your game plan a lot easier. there. It's just they have no answers. There's no answers for Samford. They come back on the field, and they really haven't had many answers. They started off well early in the football game, had a good pace and a good rhythm, but Georgia Southern, towards the end of the first half, really shut them down, came out in the second half and put their foot in the ground, would not let them move the football.
There we go on second down. We've got Gates out of the backfield, and a big hit applied by Gates to Eubanks. He's going to get down to the 1. Eubanks has applied so many big hits tonight. Finally, Samford gives him one right back.
They get a little swing pass out of the backfield. It's maybe some of the most time that someone's had in the second half. Gates gets down, puts his shoulder down, so he's tired of getting hit, so he will deliver a hit himself. And they're playing for pride now. You like to see the guys still playing hard, even though this game's out of reach, they're still playing tough.
I think that ball was snapped before the whistle to play was given. I believe that was the cause for that final whistle. Keep in mind, Georgia Southern has stiffened deep in their own end defensively. They forced a field goal, stopping a drive at the 3. They forced a turnover on downs earlier this half at the 4. Summerlin had Pope for a second. That ended quickly. Agnew again. He's had a big second half.
He got rid of the ball, fortunately, before they actually got him in the grasp as a sack. Look, he was out of the pocket, so it's not grounding. If he would have held onto that ball and thrown it about half a second later, that would have been in the grasp and a sack.
He barely got it out of there.
Georgia Southern said, we don't want you guys scoring any more points.
That goes back to what Jeff Monken said. We don't want them scoring. It doesn't matter that it's 35-16 with 7.5 seconds to go. We don't want to give up any points.
This is our house. We protect our house. That end zone is part of our house. We want to keep you out of it. No trespassing. We don't care how late in the game it is.
Since joining the Southern Conference, Samford won the first 3 games of this series ever since they joined the conference, but Georgia Southern is starting to even this playing field a little bit. Georgia Southern got them last year. They're going to get them again here tonight, and they will extend a home field winning streak to 13 straight here at Paulson Stadium.
I kind of got that feel talking to Coach Monken and company this week that they were a little edgy. This Georgia Southern team was. People were doubting them a bit, saying, did they lose it? They lost to the Citadel. Had a close one last week versus Elon. People were like, they thought that luster had worn off, that fear that people used to have of these Eagles. And I think this is a little chippy team we saw come out here tonight. Switched it up at quarterback, insert McKinnon. Swope does his thing. Defense comes out and plays great in the second half especially. And Georgia Southern, this is a statement football game for them.
No question. Second and goal. Pope brings it in and then dropped it. He had it in his hands before the hit from Wilcox. So it'll be 3rd and goal with 1.9 to go. It'll be the final play of the game. I think Georgia Southern had a purpose.
Yeah, look at that, man. They've got some big defensive backs, guys that can really run. You see Wilcox put the lick on him right here, and that would have been a touchdown had he held on to that football. Wilcox lays the smack to him to make sure he doesn't hang on to that football. 6 feet, 215 pounds. We talked about it. He was playing offense last year.
In the last 2 years. Last play of the game on 3rd and goal. He drops it in the end zone again and takes another big hit, does Pope. And Georgia Southern's defense, along with Jarek McKinnon, certainly became the story of this game. 3 times inside of the 10-yard line, they don't give up a touchdown. Jarek McKinnon bursts onto the scene as a quarterback, and Georgia Southern gives Samford its first loss this year. They are now tied in the Southern Conference, both 2-1, and the 9th-ranked team in the land dropped Samford, which was ranked for the first time in 17 years. Like we've been saying, statement for Georgia Southern, still progress for Samford.
Georgia Southern's one of those teams that came out and said, we've been here, we've been to the mountaintop, we know what it's like. We haven't been playing our best football. They were angry. And an angry, talented football team can do exactly what we saw tonight, explode when they want to. They exploded on Samford. Samford was playing well. Georgia Southern turns the volume up a little bit. Samford's ears weren't ready.
All right, once again, final score 35-16. You can watch the entire game on replay as well as other games on the family of ESPN networks. Log on, watchespn.com, or download the Watch ESPN app. Join us October 13th. Chattanooga travels to Furman live from Greenville, South Carolina. Kickoff at 1:30. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. So for Doug Chapman and our entire crew, this is Darren Goldwater saying good night from Statesboro, Georgia.